Jesus, oh God, oh God! This is terrible. Oh, I hate this. These shows are so hard to do.
Away.
This is where the fun is. This is where you need to go. Where we talk about films and help you get to know. So stick around for Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield. And help you get to know, so stick around for Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield.
Culture Minefield.
So stick around for Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield. Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield.
You know what we need to do on that is I need to go and replace the faces with Tom and me on all of those.
The show that's called Tom and Gerry because they're the only ones who talk most of the time.
Yes, we're meat puppets.
We don't let anybody else talk on the show.
So I'm excited because Tom's working on a new song and I got to hear it and none of you fuckers got to. It's pretty good. I'm liking it.
Something all the time.
I like it though, man. And officially, by the way, Tom, my CD was released this week. I haven't made the official news release or announcement because the shit going on in California, but it's kind of nice. I have that new album coming out. I don't know. Have you gotten to hear much of the stuff from this album?
I think I heard about one or two of the songs, but I haven't got to listen to the whole thing yet. But
I think this is one of Anima's. I'll play a clip real quick here. This is one of Anima's favorite songs. I feel like it's a little country western, pop country western. Turn it up.
I just wanted to hear your voice. Needed to hear you through the air. Needed to know you're still there. You were far away against your choice. You needed to hear me on the phone. You needed to know you're not alone. With the motion of the planet, it's turning on its axis, falling through the universe. And I am falling. Can my shield stand the heat? Will I burn up in the atmosphere or land on my 2 feet? You're a billion suns at midnight. I am blinded by your light. Try to follow my charts as I slingshot to your heart.
It's a nice song.
I didn't know you were black.
Yeah, apparently I'm black, guys. Hi, Penny. I hope everybody's
Thanks, Andy.
having a good Saturday. Despite my fucked up back, this thing you see behind me on the chair, that's this massaging electric thing, and it's about the only thing that's getting me through this. Hey, Che, what's up, brother? Has anyone eaten past midnight? This movie, look, Tom and I talked about this about a week ago with Mephisto on his show.
That
so
was
this is-
you and I. Tom wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. Tom didn't show.
Tom
What happened with
skipped.
that? He doesn't even
I overslept.
know. That's what it was. You overslept. Oh, Emmanuela's here.
And
Yeah.
you
And
gave
I,
a
s- I
goosebumps.
even said that to Mephisto. I said, Tom works some really late fucking hours. I'll be going to bed and I'll look over and you're still on doing something. And I'm like, God damn, man, I'm worn out. Because you keep later hours than even me. And it's like, I've always said you kind of inverted. You're only sleep for like 4 or 5 hours. Right? Am I guessing right?
I think you fell asleep.
Oh, no. He's struggling right now. I think that's what makes this movie so funny is how it parodies the original movie. Well, they said they wanted this movie badly. And so they gave him carte blanche because he held out doing it. And finally, when they gave him carte blanche to make the film he wanted to make, that's what he did. And he makes fun of his own movie. The rules,
Yeah,
everything.
they make fun of the rules. That's a funny scene.
In fact, the guys that work in security that watch the video cameras, they're the audience watching. See, they're watching videos, the security. If you pay attention what's going on in the movie, you'll understand the little nuances of what he did to make fun of his own film. The whole eating at well, it's always midnight somewhere. Like, how do they know the time zone? So they did a great job. I think that Key Luke was bumped off a little too quickly for my taste because I like him. And but I understood to push the story forward. And immediately from the start of the film, they break the rules. What's the first thing they show with Gizmo after Key Luke dies?
He walks outdoors and it's wet.
And it's daytime and it's wet.
Well, it's daytime, yeah, but
It's daytime and it's wet because it's been raining.
Well, about daytime, he's in New York though, right? So there could be enough shadow on the streets, even if the sun's out due to the skyscrapers.
No,
Isn't that New York? It's a
he's in
big
San
city.
Francisco.
Same thing.
No, it's New
big
York.
city, high buildings.
That was a different build. No, the building that Key Luke was in, the downstairs area, that was in San Francisco, right, Tom? And then the company finds him.
no, I'm pretty sure it was New York.
Was it New York?
Yeah.
So even in the first Gremlins film, it was New York?
Yeah, Kingston Falls is like
So it's Chinatown. Okay, so it's
Chinatown, New York.
Chinatown, New York.
Chinatown in New York. Yeah,
Got you.
and Kingston
Okay.
Falls, I think, is supposed to be like either within New York or somewhere within,
Like upstate New York.
something like that, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere in New York's backyard. Thank you, brain. You're still working.
But yeah, unfortunately,
Well,
like
my memory.
Gizmo running around outside during the day in the second film is one of the reasons why they use as an excuse for that newer cartoon for him to get away with what he does. And
Yep.
I'm like, you can't take the second film as like Bible canon.
It's
You just
not.
can't.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely parody. It's a parody of the first
It's
film.
them having fun. I mean, they go completely crazy on the Gremlins, not just dressing them up, but mutating them.
Inverted. Heard Arwen mention something about cross-dressers pushing their huevos into their body and some special body. Yeah, it's called gaffing.
That sounds
That
painful.
shit's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
The
The
theater
Tingler.
scene is an homage to the classic horror movie, The Tingler. Absolutely. And look, you got to realize Joe Dante is a huge fan of Castle films, and of course working for Roger Corman, a fan of Roger Corman. Hey, Read by Nature, who's all here right now? We got Penny, Cavatino Che, Cavalryman Che, Emmanuel, JPRPH1, Slasher Fred, and Read by Nature. So welcome everyone, one and all. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I'd be doing so much better if my doctor had prescribed some muscle relaxant for me. He's an asshole. By the way, Deleted Scenes has a great photo on his avatar today. That is from the set. That's Joe Dante in the middle. I don't know who the hell that is on the far left, but that is Christopher Lee, and this was his.
That's the writer.
Film.
Charlie, I think it's Charlie Haas, the writer, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it? But that's so. Christopher Lee and the cake they made for him, wishing him a happy 200th film. He was in a lot of movies, man.
If not,
a lot of people know he played opposite Errol Flynn in the film. Oh wait, Gregory Peck. I'm sorry, Gregory Peck in the movie Horatio Hornblower. He plays the Spanish captain. Why? Because despite having an English accent, he speaks fluent Spanish.
Rabies. I've got rabies.
This movie is such a good nod to Hammer and Christopher Lee himself. So much good shit in this. You got the twins in this too.
Yes.
Because this is before Terminator 2. But that's where they're best known for, the twin brothers. Because that was how they pulled off the security guard being copied by... It was a movie of twins. It was a movie of twins because Sarah Connor, actress, her twin sister is in it too. I love that shit. And they only stopped working together back in 2012, I think it is. And now only one brother continues acting. The other one's gone off to do whatever he's doing. And they, of course, the two lab assistants that work for Christopher Lee that collect all his things. They're the ones who capture Gizmo. And also, you know, I want to take a shot again at the cartoon series that came out this last year. And Gizmo is not his name before the family met him. They're the ones who gave him the name Gizmo. So how can his name be Gizmo in a prequel series, cartoon series? Dumb.
Yeah, I pointed that out last week.
So,
but yeah, to get to this movie, we talked a little bit about last week, but Warner Brothers was desperate to get a sequel off the ground. They wanted it bad. They were willing to do pretty much anything. So they told Joe Dante.
Dante didn't want to do it. Dante didn't want to do it at all.
And they had so many other people trying to come up with different ideas. And basically they're like, we'll give you whatever you want as long as you can promise it'll be done for summer of 1990.
And of course, anything I want. And they're like, yes.
They said, this is what Joe said. He goes, we don't give a shit as long as it's 2 hours long or under 2 hours long and it's got Gremlins in it. And it's called Gremlins 2. That's all we give a shit about at this point. Because they were just desperate to get a film made. And the script, really, most of it is on the screen. Like, there's very few and little deleted bits or anything that really changed from the initial concept. Because, I mean, it really is, built into the whole idea of the story. Like, Joe really leaned into the whole Gremlins, getting into the, what it's all about, what Gremlins are all about, where they come from, what they're supposed to be about, the whole getting into the mechanics.
They like to mess with shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and that ongoing thing with, advanced technology never working in the first film, especially with, the pelts or anything. In this film, it's the entire clamp building, right? Which is completely and utterly insane. And what's the only thing that I think changed drastically from the beginning to the end was, if I remember correctly, Clamp was supposed to be more of a villain, but they loved John Glover in the character so well that they kind of changed that in the process of the film, because he's basically playing Trump and Ted Turner is who he
Yep.
is.
It's an absolute 100% amalgamation of those two people. You know, he's a builder, and he also is interested in the media. And so that's the Ted Turner side. And
One of my favorite jokes in the movie is tonight on the Clamp Cable Network, Casablanca, now with a new ending in full color.
in full color. The thing that made us all kind of annoyed with Ted Turner back in the 80s was he was colorizing everything. And one of my favorite jokes from the 80s was Ted Turner is so colorizing crazy, he colorized the opening and ending of Wizard of Oz.
That is actually some, there was some basis for that, because wasn't he going to do that at some point? Or some shit?
There were rumors he was really wanting to do that. He thought it was weird that it was in black and white.
He sometimes just didn't get that stuff.
A metaphor.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, he's kind of ahead of the game, because a lot of these kids nowadays won't watch black and white stuff. They just won't. So like in that respect, he probably was right as far as being ahead of the game. But like, yeah, I mean, otherwise, sometimes he was just better at preservation than anything else. And that's all. Because like, yeah, he's not a very creative individual.
Yeah. And he did. One of the things I kind of appreciated was he did the colorized version of The Thing from Another World, which I have both versions of it, and I also have the in 4K. I have It's a Wonderful Life black and white, and I have the colorized version too. Not in quite as good a condition, but still, it's a novelty to watch them, but I prefer the black and white versions because they just look better. They were lit for black and white films. They weren't lit for color. You actually light differently in color. A lot of people don't know that. One of the rare times you see a color film lit like it's a black and white film is the movie Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, because it was intentionally lit to look like an old film while being in color. But it worked.
Yeah, at the point, I think when we did that one, the slideshow was on that we used was black and white. I think.
What are you talking about?
Chinatown.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch in black and white. The only thing you have to do is you have to bring the tone down a little bit for it to look right, and it does. It looks beautiful in black and white. And a couple of people didn't believe me. Like Don Ecker didn't believe me. I'm like, dude, watch it in black and white and control your contrast. And I'm telling you, it really gives you the feel of an old film. So here we go, guys. We have started the slideshow. And the movie started with a much longer cartoon, and they had to cut it down. And of course, that is actually Chuck Jones's Bugs Bunny and Daffy. You can tell by the way he drew the eyes.
Yeah. That's my favorite run, Chuck Jones.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, he's the one who created Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote stories, which is just an offshoot of the Bugs Bunny Elmer Fudd relationship.
Hey, we have 11
Hey,
Alpha.
11 Alpha is here. By the way, Alpha, don't forget Monday we are doing Battleground.
A puppet story. The document.
I've never seen that documentary. Tom, do you know? Now, I will tell you that Chris Columbus wasn't available to work on the script. And so that's how Haas got brought in to work on the script. And I got to tell you, man, I think he did a fantastic job in writing this film. Another great parody moment in this film is, Dick Miller, the great Dick Miller. Jesus. I've been a fan of his since I was a teenager. I do love this scene. That, of course, is on the Warner backlot. And I taught Anima.
Sorry, I stepped away. What was the question?
Oh, what was the question I asked, Martin?
Oh, this documentary.
Oh, the documentary. Yeah, the puppet, a puppet story.
Oh yeah, because Chris decided he was going to go direct Fly 2. Or Christopher Columbus, he wasn't on. Or Chris Wayless didn't work on it because he was going to direct the Fly 2. And then Chris Columbus
was?
No, Chris
Oh,
Columbus,
okay.
he didn't work on it because he was already doing other things too. And really, people got to remember the Gremlins that we know of, his version was much different. Like that's what we were talking about last week. Like it was rewritten to be more of a Spielbergian kind of movie. The original script was a flat out horror film.
Yes,
and
it was.
Yeah. So, and I think Charlie had worked on a few other things with either Joe and some other people in Spielberg's camp and stuff like that, if I remember right.
Yeah, so they brought Haas in to do the screenplay this time. And I think you did a terrific job. Now, I wanted to point something out here that this is the Warner backlot. And I taught Anima how to know when you're seeing a backlot shot or an actual street. You remember Anima? Now she's gone.
I think it's the height of the curbs.
It is the height of the curbs. The curbs are higher on the backlots.
Yeah, because they only shot in New York for a couple of days. Like all the shots you see of Billy and Kate walking to work and stuff, that's most of the New York stuff, actually.
Pretty much it. Because so much of it's interior anyway. But
and I think a few shots with Clamp outside are the only other stuff, yeah.
This is also the connecting street that is connected to the same street used in Blade Runner and many Humphrey Bogart movies. But if you look at, see the fire hydrant there, see how tall that curb is? That tells you that is a movie set, not the real streets of New York. So that's something that I learned a long time ago. I taught Anima, and now you guys that are watching right now know that little thing. If you see those tall curbs, even on the streets, the houses streets, the curbs are taller. And they tend to be more right-angled. And there's Robert Picardo. I fucking love it, Robert Picardo.
Well, and the other thing with Key Luke here is he died not long after shooting this, so they couldn't go back and do anything if they wanted to.
Yeah, but it made me sad, though, that he's just in this little bit here. Because I loved Key Luke, man. I've been watching him as a fan of his since I was a kid. I knew him as number 2 son for Charlie Chan. And, of course, he was on Kung Fu. And he has his little pipe there that normally you would smoke opium through. So I'm sure he was pretty chill.
Lumber.
And of course, you know, he doesn't want to sell. He's not interested. Oh, I love that when he's a germaphobe. He doesn't like shit on him.
Yeah, you relate to that, Gerry.
Well, it's an ongoing joke. He's constantly getting shit on throughout him.
Yeah, shit on the movie. But midnight where, Hamdinger? Midnight where?
It's always midnight somewhere.
It's always midnight somewhere.
And what if he gets something stuck in his teeth? I mean,
yeah,
like a sesame seed or a caraway seed. Yeah, I mean, he didn't technically eat that out after midnight. You know.
That's what my
grandma would say. I love the nitpicking because what I was explaining was that the security people who watch the screens are representing those nerd audience members that were asking those kinds of questions about the first movie. Oh, here's the Rambo scene. I love this. You've got to become one.
Television again. An invention for fools. Did you hear that cough? He's an antique.
I love that giant clamp holding the earth, squishing it.
The designs, the production designs, the logo designs in this movie are top notch. Yeah,
absolutely.
There are so many like background inside jokes that, you know, that's the beauty of rewatching this movie. Like you almost discover something new every time.
Dude, there's a scene during the chaos in which you can see in the officer's name, Dr. Quartermain.
Like Alan Quartermain.
Yes.
The eyes were so much better this time, and that's because of the work of Rick Baker.
Well, and he made Gizmo a little bit bigger, too.
And here's the scene. This is a huge moment. And this really kind of got its start because of the movie we talked about yesterday, Willow. And Willow allowed for big changes to come with using objects and bringing them into a movie by use of, back then, blue screen. I don't think green screen really started until the late 90s, as I recall.
Yeah.
Because chroma key works differently with green than it does with blue. And it's so much better a color to use than blue, because blue is in a lot of things. This is right at the start, isn't it, of the gentrification of I just got the name of the street. Help me.
I don't know.
They started putting in restaurants and taking out all the porn shops.
I thought they were going through Times Square, but yeah, I don't know.
That was Times Square.
I've never been to New York, so I don't know.
It was Times Square, and Times Square was just starting to get cleaned up. I love this. Nothing fucking works. This is before the Gremlins have even been introduced.
Yeah, that's the ongoing joke, right? Like, yeah, nothing works anyway.
It's almost like he never left home.
At the same time, they have school classes, and the guides they just explain how great everything is and how awesome it is, and the best building in the world. In the background, shit just goes wrong all the time, and badly wrong too. It's not just a door that gets stuck; people get thrown around.
I love Marla. She's so good.
She's creepy.
I don't even know who this actress is. I don't know if she's ever done anything else.
Yeah, she's still working, man. She's in a lot of stuff. She's gorgeous too. Just as much of a
just this character that she plays. Yeah,
she's so annoying.
She's a predator.
Well, she just comes complete, right? Like, I mean, it's like she's in her own little movie.
Yeah, really. It's the Marla movie. You know, she's got a movie going on all of her own.
Even when hits the Shan later on, you know, she's just walking around, being Marla. You know, she's walking through cobwebs and everything. And oh, this is new. You know?
Yeah, all she needs is a cigarette.
Can we get some help around here? I'd like some semblance in my office now.
And by the way, did you ever see my meme of Captain Picardo from Star Trek? I put Robert Picardo in, and he screws up all of Picard's famous lines. Make it happen.
He does make himself an emergency captain in one episode of Voyager, though.
Yeah,
and realizes at the end that it was a bad idea. He looks good in a red uniform, though.
Now that I think you're right on that. I do believe that when Culkin refused to come back, they recast the whole film, and I think she's the one who was cast as the mother.
Honestly, I think by the time they got to Home Alone 3, Macaulay Culkin was 40.
He just he was done. I don't even know how old he was. It was just he was not interested in coming back.
Well, he was a little older than I was, so.
So this is For those of you who don't know, that's Henry Gibson. Henry Gibson is best known for reading poetry by Henry Gibson on Laugh-In.
That's an unauthorized break period, my friend.
I
You
know,
don't work
right?
here anymore.
And he's looking around like, hello? So he gets fired.
Clean out your desk, 1 hour, and thanks so much.
End of medical benefits, too. Connie Cleary is here. Soul Assassin. It's starting to look like one of her regular shows. Helen Place is here, too. What's up? Wait a minute. What's this? This year marks the 40th anniversary of Young Sherlock Holmes, which is on the short list for us to do this year, too. So, absolutely. I like that film. Big fan of that film. It's apocryphal.
Everybody forgets Last Starfighter as well.
Is this the anniversary for
That
that?
used CGI. No, well, that it used CGI.
Oh, it's funny you bring that up because I brought the story up yesterday. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was an CG team in 1976 who put together a reel using CG animation in 1976 of X-Wings doing something they couldn't do with X-Wings when they made Star Wars, which is they had a leading team come up and rotate around in one shot behind the other X-Wings. And it was really, like, when I saw it, I was shocked at what year this was done. And the problem was when George saw this, he's like, those aren't my X-Wings. My X-Wings are lived in. They're dirty. They're broken, and those look clean and made of plastic. And so he rejected it. But then they went and did a poster. And you can find this over on Corridor Crew. Go look on Corridor Crew for this. It was just released over the last 2 weeks, this video about this. And they went and made a Star Wars poster with I think it was 6 million polygons graphic of an X-Wing lit from the front like a sun. And it looks beautiful. It really is. And but they still got rejected, but they stayed in the loop, and George Lucas did help them by pushing them and moving forward. And years later, they would get the gig for doing the effects for, and you just brought the film up.
Last Starfighter.
They did the visual effects for Last Starfighter.
Oh, it was Universal, but yeah.
Oh, Universal. I'm sorry. It was because of George Lucas that they got that gig. And
and actually, I'm trying to remember, was it Industrial Light and Magic still at that time yet, or was it something else that did it? I'm trying to remember.
No, it was them. They went off on their own. Because a lot of people know this too, that he owned Pixar, and Lucas did. It was part of ILM. And then he let them kind of go off on their own to do whatever
he sold
they
it
wanted
to
to
Steve
do.
Jobs, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Lucas had his fingers in almost everything.
Back order,
I love
back order.
He hands him a tissue with snot in it.
That was gross.
How's that cloning coming along?
And there they are. They're the twins. And nobody remembers them from this movie, but they always remember them from Terminator 2.
Yeah, so there's one small
as well.
That's right. Yeah, there's one small deleted bit here that leads into the Bat Gremlin. They do show off where they've figured out the sunblock.
Yep.
And they have a bat. There's actually images of it, so they did shoot it. And they have a big bat in the cage, and they're like, they turn the light on, and it doesn't give a shit.
The Bat Gremlin
Well, this
is my
again is that
favorite.
effect. This is effect once again revolutionized by Industrial Light and Magic for the movie Willow. And Rick Baker found a way to use it for this film. I think that the puppetry in this film went far beyond what they did in the first.
I'm trying to
film.
remember what they said in the commentary. The original song was they used there, but I think it was a Little Richard song they used originally, and then they.
Well, he's a big fan. Joe Dante loves that kind of music.
Well, they ended up using not Big Bopper. What's his face? Who's
like in Explorers with the Rob Bottin Aliens, that song they use all around the world. They, instead of using the original version, they got, what's his name? That died young. He was at Power Station, the lead singer.
Yeah, the guy who sings Blueberry Hill.
Robert Palmer. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the name of the guy who sings Blueberry Hill. They use a song from him, but they originally wanted to use a Little Richard song, but I can't remember which one it was.
And that was I just forgot his name. I could see his face, and I can't remember his name. By the way, does anybody recognize this gentleman right here?
Yes.
This is his first movie.
Really?
As I recall,
Fats Domino. Thank you.
That's it, Fats Domino. Kept thinking Big Bopper. It's not Big Bopper.
I know, that's what I said, Big Bopper. I'm like, no, not the Big Bopper. God damn it, what's his name? Yeah, no, thank you. I was like, it's having a moment. Yeah, and this actor too, I'm trying to remember his name too now, damn it.
He's famous for playing not Dean Chavez.
Raymond Cruz.
Yeah,
okay,
Raymond
Cruz. That's who it is, yeah. Huh. Excuse me, where did you hear that song? Oh, isn't that by Prince? No, it's not by Prince.
It's not by Prince. There's a moment with the cleaning man, which is played by
John Ashton. Yeah.
John Ashton.
And that's completely improvised. Of all the shit in this movie that's improvised, that is one of the few things that is.
And Howie Mandel actually says, as Gizmo, Gomez.
Oh, he was always throwing weird shit in there. Because they would just, first of all, he would like have to just fit in whatever it looked like he was saying with the little puppet. So he would just come up with like gibberish, or he would find little words that would fit. Like caca was one of them he brought in. And he basically just created a language, he said. And then the other guys kind of translated that into the Gremlins. So like he would find words, he would pick up on words, but otherwise there was just little itty bitty words and things that he would say here and there. I think he even said a few Chinese words and some other stuff like that, but it was just randomness.
Makes sense because he's there. That's the bat formula right there for daylight. I paused it there for a reason. But
no, that's the electric one. That's the electric one.
I thought that was
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of this scene there's a few, not a lot, but a few bits in this scene got chopped down, but actually set up later on. But as I read the novel, when I watched this recently, I actually read the novelization, which is basically the screenplay, right? Yep. I'm surprised how much didn't change. And that's what I was saying. Like the John Ashton bit was one of the few things I remember being completely improvised.
Yeah,
and I think they point that out in the commentary.
And it's so cute because if you really listen, you can hear Gizmo when he sees him go, Gomez.
I love John Ashton's bit because he's like calculating what it costs to get one drink of water. 0.002 cents.
It's the whole micromanager thing that he knows he's being micromanaged.
Hey, mister, did you wash your hands?
I know, right? The voices.
Oh, hey, pal, I sure hope you wash those hands.
So funny.
Hey, mister, that's what he says. Hey, mister, welcome to the men's room.
I know, right at the urinal. Oh my
now,
God.
if we walked into a men's room and we heard that, we would love it. I'm sorry. Men would love it.
Now, I will tell you that this film does a better job of making Gizmo more of still a gremlin because he doesn't listen to Billy at all.
Yeah,
well, he's
he doesn't
curious.
stay in that drawer and it gets him into trouble.
None of this would have happened if he had listened to Billy.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit against character because in the original film, Gizmo is a little
exactly.
do-gooder.
He doesn't do anything. Everything happens to him.
He even knows not to eat after midnight in the first one.
Yep. In this one, he's a bit mischievous. And I liked that. I liked that it showed a little more of his character. And again, I want to point out, I really think that Rick Baker did such a better job with the eyes. They're more expressive. They don't look like toy eyes.
There's ups and downs. See, now to me, the Wayless versions look more realistic. Like they look more
Really?
like what I would imagine.
They look like doll's eyes, and it bothered me.
No, maybe not the eyes themselves specifically, but like the skin around the eyes, the skin around the mouth, the way the Gremlins look. To me, the Baker versions look more like puppets. Especially Gizmo. He's too clean. He's too smooth. He almost looks like a Rankin and Bass fucking puppet from
Claymation character.
Yeah, he does almost. I mean, and I get it. Some people enjoy this version better, and that's cool. It's a totally a aesthetic thing more than anything. To me, I just prefer the original versions. That's all.
And it's a good toolbox desk system.
Wayless was really good at making like scaly things, and he was really good with skin compared to some other people. I mean, I don't know how much he works anymore, but like, I mean,
what was some of the other work he did?
He worked in like Dragon, not Dragon Slayer, and he did the baby dragons in that. I found out later on, because I don't think he's really credited with much of it, but he designed most of Slimer. And I learned that from Gerry.
That's where I know his name from, is Slimer.
Yeah, and you can really see like kind of his style. And like and from an artist sense, like you see certain artists, you can tell their style. You can tell they have their little, it's almost like a fingerprint in the way that they design things.
I want to point out with Rick Baker, because Rick Baker has slightly slanted eyes. He has what's called smiling eyes. A lot of his characters have that same.
They do.
Right.
But Baker, this is one of the few times he's kind of off kilter. And I think he even explained that in a sense that these designs feel the least Rick Baker of anything of his. And it's because he's copying
somebody else's design.
And he was hesitant to do that. And they gave him a lot of fucking money to do this, because
it's not just the money, it was the freedom.
Because he's like, I'll do it, but I want to redesign them all. And from top to bottom, I want to redesign Gizmo, and I want to redesign, and I want like 3 or 4 different designs of the Gremlins. Yep. And that was his deal. And that's why we have the changing Gizmo. That's why the Mogwais, when he spawns off new Mogwais, they all have a different personality and names, actually. And then when they turn into Gremlins, it's the same thing. But if you notice, there's 3 or so different variations on the Gremlins, unlike the first film where there was just one. There's one, and that's it.
They all look the same.
But there's a green gremlin, there's a brown gremlin, and then there's a brownish green gremlin. And they all have very different, distinct looks to them, like compared to the first film. They're very different.
There's Glover again, and I'm going to tell you, he does.
And they're not scaly like they are in the first film either. They're smooth skinned.
They're smoother, like lizard skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, who doesn't love Picardo's mullet? Come on, man. That's a great mullet.
God. Oh, he was born for this role.
Oh my God, yeah. The 2 best roles were this film and Joe Dante's other film, Inner Space, for Picardo.
Yeah, and I also love John. This is probably one of my favorite John Glover performances too in this movie.
Let's not forget what Bob Picardo did on Stargate Atlantis.
Oh, of course.
He's one of the greatest character artists. He starts as an asshole, and in the end, everybody loves him.
See, the thing with me is I was more of a, before I became a Star Trek fan, I was a fan of this kind of stuff. So to me, I associate Picardo more with Joe Dante, because Joe Dante has his little group of actors that he always uses. Yeah. He has him. He has what's his face from Body Snatchers and McCarthy.
Dick Miller's in almost all of his
Dick
movies.
Miller, of course, is in all of them. Robert Prosky is another one that he brings in a lot. The guy who plays Grandpa. And of course, Henry Gibson, who we saw in here already too, is another one of his. Another guy that he brings in a lot, and I can't remember his name now, but it'll come to me. The guy who plays one of the security guys. He goes, we got to stop him before he eats after midnight. And he's like, he already ate something because he bit his nose. Yeah, because he was in The Burbs and some other movies. What's his name? Ah, shit. Somebody in the Steven will probably get it first. before I look it up. But I just watched Little Monsters, and he's in that too. I can't remember his name.
Oh, absolutely. There was a reference originally that they're aliens, and apparently they kept that in the book.
It's in the original novel, but it's not in the second one. The second one's almost verbatim the movie, right down to the scene where they do the breakdown. And when we get to that, I'll explain it. Oh, that's right. So that guy we saw earlier was in that picture was not Charlie Haas. Charlie Haas is actually playing the one doctor, if I remember right. He's playing Casper. So that's right. That's Charlie Haas. I don't know who that might be the producer. I was thinking that might have been Mike Fennell with him in that picture, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was going to say that, but
And who wants to bet money that the cigarettes she smokes are Virginia Slims? Because those are some thin cigarettes and they're long. I worked with this German bitch, and that's all she smoked. Oh my God. And Phoebe is such a parody of herself in this film.
she was getting to the point where she was not acting as much anymore too.
The scene where she starts to go into the whole Lincoln's birthday thing.
Yeah.
Like, where the fuck
We don't have time for this.
Yeah, it's like, what happened? I gotta know what happened on Lincoln's birthday.
Nope. Moving along. Rick Dockerman, that's his name. I couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Phoebe was cute. She did a topless scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Was she married to what's his face yet here, or is that a little later yet? Because once she got married, that's when she kind of quit acting as much.
Let me go look real quick because she, spouse, Kevin Kline.
Yeah, Kevin Kline.
Yeah,
that's what
she was married. They got married in '89.
Okay, so yeah, so this post this, I was gonna say because post this is when she didn't do a whole lot after this. I don't think. Just a few random movies here and there, and one of them being that Kevin Kline movie that cost an ungodly amount of money at Warner Brothers. That, if I remember right.
Ooh. Give me a hint of what it was about, and then I'll
I think it was called Town and Country or something like that. Maybe I'm trying to think. Or no, wait, that's a different movie. I'm thinking. What the hell movie was it? I'm trying to remember now. I'll look it up.
What year was it around about?
Because she just kind of like retired. Because I
know Wild Wild West was
she did Drop Dead Fred and stuff after this.
I love that movie. That's one of my daughter's
Princess
favorite.
Caribou was like another one of her last ones she did, but that was also like this when she got more sporadic.
So I'll go through the films and you tell me which one. I'll start with Pirates of Penzance, The Big Chill, Silverado, Cry Freedom, Fish
The
Called
Anniversary
Wanda.
Party, I think, is the one I'm thinking of.
There it is, 2001.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't even give the budget. It just says it only makes.
Yeah, I think it cost
0.9
like
million.
Alan Cumming, that's what it was all. I remember now. Yes. Okay. So like Alan Cumming was one of the big people behind it. And she was like friends with him. That's what it was. Yeah. Because if you look at her filmography, post Gremlins 2, she's only did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies. And most of those were between 91 and 94. And then that's what I said. Yeah. She came back for that movie. And she hasn't done shit since, other than doing her voice in that Lego game for Gremlins a little while back. But she even can't. They were supposed to do one of those retro figures for the Super 7 line or whatever. Back then it was Funko, I think, was still doing them, and she wouldn't sign off on it.
Really?
Yeah, because I even had it pre-ordered and it got canceled. They even had the figure even made to go and everything like that, and she decided that she wasn't going to do it. I don't know why. But she's like really just kind of like completely pulled herself out of the limelight.
Oh, the big mentally handicapped, goofy looking gremlin. It's one of my favorites.
So believe you me, to get her to come back to do a Gremlins 3 would probably take a miracle.
Do you think she just got tired of the business and just wanted to be
I think she just wanted to be a mom.
a wife and a mom. Yeah, it happens to a lot of them.
I mean, she was very I mean, I always remind people she got top billing over Zach Galligan, and she got paid more than him for these movies. So anybody wants to sit there and go, "Oh, women wrote," no, fuck you. Phoebe Cates got paid a hell of a lot more than, I bet you she got paid 3-4 times what he did.
I love the joke here that she doesn't know Gizmo at all, and she grabs the.
She doesn't know him well enough. No, and it's understandable. She didn't spend a whole lot of time with him. And Daffy's enough like him. He looks enough like him, other than the eyeballs, that you could see somebody getting confused if they didn't know him well enough.
Also,
but I mean,
she
he's
doesn't
just
like them. She doesn't like Mogwai. She's very unhappy that
yeah.
they have to take him in. So she doesn't care. She grabs the first she sees.
Well, clearly she's got some trauma issues, right? Between her
Yeah,
dad
right.
and
Oh, you think?
all that other shit. So, like, yeah, I mean, oh God, I love loves.
Yeah. His character, and I love the Edward G. Robinson one.
Yeah, so you got Mohawk here, you got Lenny and Carl, and then Daffy are the 4 new Mogwai. And if you can't figure out which one's which, then
yeah, I guess people who are
or George, not Carl. That's Simpson. Sorry, Lenny and George. Yeah. George is the one with the scowl, and Lenny, of course, is the. I love this Canadian restaurant.
I know, with the fucking moose head.
Would you like some of the chocolate mousse, son? I'll cut you an antler. The chocolate mousse.
Chocolate mousse.
It's literally a chocolate mousse.
Molson, eh? And that giant ram that's next to him at the table.
They even got Gordon Lightfoot playing in the background and everything.
Oh, careful. Oh, no, Gizmo.
That fucking laugh.
I fucking love Daffy.
His laugh is so fucking wild.
He is just every maniacal thing about the Gremlins times 10.
Right.
Like his little, like, just looking
He's
at him. He makes...
and he eats.
And I love later when he's got Billy in the dentist chair. Is it safe?
Is it safe?
They reference so many movies in this. They just go all over the place.
By the way, Anima watched that movie, The Marathon Man.
Oh,
That dentist scene was so intense she had trouble watching that scene with the torture.
That movie is a weird one.
I listened to that scene, let's put it that way. I couldn't look.
Bullseye.
Well, I love how Olivier.
Where did you find this guy?
This is not Gizmo. Yeah, he's completely unaware that he's gotten wet again.
He just makes me laugh just looking at him.
Oh, yeah, because his eyes have closed, and then his eyeballs are fluttering.
He's just
that is Gizmo on cocaine.
Yeah, exactly.
And slightly retarded.
Gizmo really should have known better because he's looking out of that drawer, and what's the dude's name? The guy kicks it shut, and it closes on his hand, and then the hand is all swollen and throbbing. And it's like, dude, stay in there, and he just doesn't. He's a bit stupid in this one.
Yeah, that is actually one of my favorite moments in the film.
I know.
When Gizmo gets his hand pinched, and he goes, "Oh!" and then you see the throbbing.
Well, it's because it's a cartoon. That's why. Yeah.
I know.
We had to go back and watch that 4 times when we watched that movie because he enjoyed it so much.
Robin Williams Gizmo.
Yeah, I love this bit with Mr. Futterman. It's okay, honey. I heard it too. Of course you heard it too. What the hell does that mean?
So you're trying to question my sanity?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like clearly they saw the Gremlins, right? Like he's been in therapy ever since.
Right.
Tried to kill him again.
Hey, Zax is here, man.
Hi, Zach.
If anything, that's the one serious point in the whole movie is that the Futtermans get their moment to shine,
Redemption?
especially Murray. Yeah, and he gets his redemption and he's the only one who kind of gets the serious moments of the film, I guess, if you want to put it in a certain way.
Well, you
It's
know,
like,
it's
yeah.
kind of sad that the one guy who knew what these things were doesn't really get to fight them.
But this
And
time
I
he
thought it
does.
was a missed opportunity. And yeah, I like that they do that here.
Here we go for
He
Zach.
was running from something, sir. And then he crashed into a DUI checkpoint, committed 10 felonies, and not to mention FUing a room full of cops.
You FU me all the time.
Fuck you, Kyle!
There you go. That's for you, Zach. We have
Okay, so
many
there's
questions, Kyle.
what's his face, the composer, Jerry
That's
Goldsmith.
Jerry Goldsmith, that's right. The popcorn scene.
She said there's no rats. That's not what she said.
I love that this building is dangerous even before the
Yeah.
Gremlins get here. It's like crazy.
Oh no, they just love it. It's home for them.
And there's Spencer's in the background. I love that. If you were in the 80s, that was where you went to get cool shit. Spencer's. Now it's that emo goth store. I forget the name of it. To get
And this
movie
is just
tie-in
stupid
stuff.
on Billy's part. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? This is the only part in the movie though where it kind of slows down a little bit. Even though I mean there's a lot still happening here, but I mean, if anything, this is the only part that kind of just, you know what I mean? Like it's just
It's the
It is-
calm
it's-
that comes before the storm.
For the
Yeah.
storm. And it's also you could refer to this as this part is Deus Ex
Deus Ex
Ex
Machina.
Machina. And where the director has decided that something needs to occur in order to move the story forward. And it feels kind of forced. Like this security guard's overreaction to things is fucking ridiculous.
well, it's more so just Billy being dumb enough to think that he could go and shut the water off to the building and like somebody wouldn't just come down and turn it right back on. Right. And not only that, Kate knows the building well enough and the security well enough that
Well,
she
here's
should
the
know
nose
that
pipe.
Billy was going to be, and that Billy was going to be get in trouble doing this, obviously. When really the whole scene, the only thing that needs to happen in the scene is Billy needs to go. They just need to get Daffy back to the building, right? Like that's the whole point. So they bring Daffy back there because they should be looking for Gizmo right now is what they should be doing. This is what makes no sense to me. This is the only part of the movie that I think is stupid in a sense that I don't understand why this scene is here.
I think they leave Gizmo on his own, so you don't see him for most parts of the movie.
Well,
and then when he comes in and does a Rambo, it's fucking.
And it's
cool.
also so they can get rid of Billy for 12 hours or whatever, basically. So
Right.
so that the
Yeah.
building, because otherwise, I guess I could see that now. I'm thinking about it from that perspective because once he does show up, what does he do? He goes to Robert Picardo's character and he's like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to shut the building down. And he's like, well, why would we do such a thing? Well, that was basically what would have happened next anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess I still struggle to see why they had to get rid of Billy for 12 hours. Because what is Kate doing for 12 hours? She's just fucking waiting around for Billy, right? Like, yeah, 'cause, I mean, I don't know how many hours he's in there, but it sounds like he's in there for like the night into the next morning. So, like, yeah.
But this
That's
is
clearly what
where
they did
that
is they
joke-
went back at night. I mean, them just being there at night could have been enough to get them in trouble. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, she's waiting for Billy while Billy gets assaulted by his boss at the restaurant. Oh, it's
So
that.
Right.
This
Well,
is-
that's already happened, but that's my point. Because so this is the same night. So he gets arrested at night. The next morning, she's able to bail him out. That's really all it is so they can give the Gremlins enough time to do their thing and turn, and eat after midnight and all that shit, basically, without anybody doing anything to stop them. That's really what it is to get them out of the equation for a few minutes in the story.
And this is technically where Daffy eats, because this is where he bites his nose.
Yeah. But my point is to what I was saying, Anima, was like, it makes Kate kind of stupid, because what is she doing then other than just sitting around waiting for Billy to get out of fucking prison or jail?
Nothing.
Not prison.
Yeah,
but
she does nothing.
yeah, she's just sitting there waiting. Yeah. So she wasn't proactive at all in that entire time. She could have been going back to the she knows the building better than he does. Right? So she could have been
there longer. Yeah.
Well, not just that she's been there longer, she does the tours, so she knows all the ins and outs of the building. That's the point. Kind of like the same thing in the first movie, and that's kind of works with her character, is for those who don't know why she knows everything in the first movie, she knows the theater and all that shit because she works at all these places in the town. She has all these random jobs everywhere, all these part-time jobs. That's why she knows all this stuff. So that's why she knows what the back room is. That's why she knows where the boiler room is. That's why, and all that shit to get into the theater. It's kind of the similar thing they should have used here where, yeah, she doesn't like Gizmo, but they should have had her been more smart. She knows the building. So she could have been searching the building all night looking for the Gremlins or something like that. And you just had to show a scene or two of her just looking around for the, for Gizmo and saying Gizmo, Gizmo, or whatever, and shit, and trying to avoid the security guards again from them getting busted. It's just, it's my only nitpick in the movie.
She hates them. Maybe she thinks by ignoring the whole situation, it will kind of go away. I don't know.
She just went home and went to bed is what she did. Yeah. And then she bitched the next morning that she spent the rent money to get him out of jail, basically.
Oh, wait, she is a gremlin. She absolutely is a gremlin when it comes to food. Ask Gerry. He got so annoyed the other day that I fed her 2 hours early just to shut her up.
I mean, I don't blame her. Nobody likes Gremlins, but I mean...
Poor Gizmo.
Yeah, but his comeback as Rambo is so cool.
Yeah, and this is where I learned, I believe it's in the novelization, where they talk about how the Gremlins won't kill him. They'll torture the hell out of him, but they won't kill him. It's like against their...
It's a game for them.
Well, it's kind of like...
Well, I think there's kind of a rule. They're not allowed to kill him.
Yeah. It's kind of like this thing that since he's a Mogwai and he can produce more, you just don't. Because they'll kill each other, no problem. Yeah. Right? They'll kill people, no problem.
But
anything else, whatever.
Killing him, they don't give a shit. They are so mean. They call him Kaka, for fuck's sake.
No, but it is... But they do bring it up in the book when Mohawk is like torturing him and shit. They do bring up why they won't kill him. It's like this unsaid kind of like rule that the Gremlins have. They won't kill a Mogwai.
That makes it even more cruel, though, in my opinion. Torture the shit out of him. It's okay as long as you don't kill him.
Yep. That's kind of it. Yeah.
He just needs to stay alive enough so that when you sprinkle water on him, he pops out more Mogwai.
Well, and a lot of it, I think, boils back to the original. Oops, sorry, Anima. I didn't know you. I thought you were done.
Well, we do have an opportunity here.
I was going to let her finish. Sorry.
Wade Nation. I want to do this real quick, and then Anima, please pick up where you left off.
Here, Will. Put on your coat. Will, Danaher, they're coming to the front door.
Well, since when has the back door been not good enough?
By the way, we've been raided by meth.
Hi, Raiders. So now Meth is in the chat, and also Mike is in the chat, and both are not on the panel.
So where were you going to finish off, honey?
I just said I think that's pretty cruel that as long as he's alive enough that when you sprinkle water on him, he pops out more Mogwai.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can do whatever you like. That's pretty cruel. You just need to keep him alive. That's all. It's the only rule.
Hey, Curtis Shelby's here.
And I think it kind of boils back to the whole idea. What I was going to say is that it boils to like they used to be this creature from another world, and when they came to Earth, these things happened to them because of the side effects of being in a new planet. And the Gremlins are an unnatural occurrence in their evolution or whatever. But that being said, like you just said, as long as they're alive enough to produce more offspring, that's all that matters to the Gremlins. Because even though they can do the same thing, for some reason it's like this patriarchal or matriarchal thing. They won't destroy their parents. kind of thing.
Yeah, but
Like, yeah.
also, Gremlins, they don't produce Mogwai, they produce Gremlins.
That too, yeah. And for some reason, that's what it is. I'd have to go back and look at it, but it's kind of explained in there real quick. And then I said, I think it kind of harkens back to that whole idea. Because I think it even brings it up there.
They do want to have Mogwai that probably not turn evil right away.
Well, the only ones that wouldn't turn evil are natural Mogwai that I would assume they have by bumping uglies with other Mogwais. Because, I mean, that's the thing is the whole, them getting wet. Because whatever planet they came from, they had a different sun and they didn't have water. That's what they said in the original book. And so when they got to Earth and the sun was here, that they found out that killed them. And then the water made them multiply, but it made offspring that were not natural. So that's why they're all devious, and which it, to me implies that they have offspring that are natural. Otherwise, right? So yeah, I don't know how I would assume, but you know, but yeah, they don't really explain that.
They didn't.
But yeah, it's
Oh my
like basically
God.
like a mutation caused by, because our water is like a, you know, a toxin to them, or however you want to put it.
That kitchen woman, I know her as a witch in that movie with Cher, I think was in it.
I think the Mogwai are not evil. They're just mischievous.
No, the original Mogwai are not evil. They're actually good. And as I explained to you guys in the original thing when we talked about the first movie, the Mogwai are actually the opposite of a gremlin, right? They're the good. They fix things, because that was where Gizmo got his name,
right.
and all that kind of stuff, to where gremlin is the opposite. And Mogwais are also very clean and tidy and all that kind of stuff, to where a gremlin is messy and likes to destroy things. They even, it's like a whole little thing they go through about how they're basically the opposite of each other. And that's
so,
what I was, yeah.
So there's natural Mogwai and they are good. And when a Mogwai gets wet and pops out Mogwai, those are the unruly ones.
Yes, that's the idea.
They're basically between Mogwai and Gremlin.
Yep. And that didn't happen until they came to our planet, right?
Yeah,
like
because
on
they
their
don't have
planet,
water,
they never
yeah.
had that problem, was the point. Yeah.
So is that just an allergic reaction to water? Pop up
Yeah,
Mogwai,
something
they're
like
not
that, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, allergic reaction probably be a better way of putting it. But to them, it's toxic or whatever, and it creates this mutated version of themselves,
It's
basically.
painful too. Gizmo suffers
Yeah.
when he pops out these things.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't feel good.
Hydrogen monoxide.
Everything is chemicals. Tell that to anti-vaxxers.
And then, of course, the water kicks on here. Pest infestation. You're supposed to be getting the bugs out of the system. Well, I'd call these some pretty goddamn major bugs.
I love these photos. Oh my God.
Poor Gizzy.
They're torturing him with the Xerox. Mecha J is here. Basically, it's their point.
Mohawk. He's a bastard.
Yeah.
He actually is the... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
He's jamming him in the copy machine. And the flashlight must be so bad for Gizmo.
So
He
women
actually-
getting pregnant is an allergic reaction?
If they got pregnant with water, maybe. Yeah, no, like the thing with Mohawk is he's not only the first to die in the film, he actually dies earlier in the original script. He was actually supposed to be the gremlin that Clamp kills in the office scene. But they switched him out with the spider gremlin. In the original script, the spider gremlin was a completely separate gremlin. But they just decided to combine them for the movie, which makes a little more sense. It keeps him around a little bit longer, because otherwise he's gone halfway
in
through.
The spider gremlin makes sense. Nothing. Why would you do a fucking spider gremlin?
Because it looks cool as hell.
Yeah,
No,
it does.
doesn't.
Besides, it looks.
This is the
moist.
scene right here. Oh, let's do some memos.
Let's
He's
do
so
some
bored.
memos.
Let's pretend we work.
So this is supposed to be Mohawk in the original script, but it's just a random gremlin now.
Oh yeah, suddenly is the receptionist.
Yeah, because he puts the fucking mousetrap in her sandwich.
Oh yeah, that was so bad.
So there's one of the brown gremlins.
That's one of the coolest gremlin deaths, though, when he gets put through the shredder. That was
Here's
cool.
the thing that sucks, Soul Assassin. It is so hard for those things to survive because they weren't using silicone yet. They were still using foam rubber, which has latex in it. And latex,
most of them have deteriorated. Yeah.
Yeah, they deteriorate, fall apart, and that's the problem with foam
Rick
rubber.
saved a lot of the hero stuff from this movie. As far as the other stuff goes, it got sold off or just wasted away over time. Like
It's
for
sort
the
of like-
longest time on eBay, you could buy the little gremlins that are in the pod on his back and stuff. You could buy arms. Like the guys from RLM bought a bunch of the arms from the elevator scene. But yeah, this was basically their comment to anybody who bitched about the fucking blender in the first movie. That's what this was.
So cool. Dude, Mom on a killing spree in the kitchen was the coolest thing about that movie. Just
Yes, it
finished
was.
Off one after the other. Amazing.
She killed
And
3
at
of those
first-
fucking things.
At first, they planned
Mom was a badass.
They wanted to kill her. Have a gremlin rip her head off and bounce it down the stairs. I'm so glad they switched it around and had her kill all these gremlins. That was fucking awesome.
Now, I do want to point out the composure Clamp has here. With after almost being killed by this fucking thing, his first thought is to straighten his fucking tie.
No, that thing in here just a minute ago, that was dangerous.
And he's full of slime too.
Oh, I told you about those guys in that lab. I warned you about them. We could have had 2 plastic surgeons.
We have information they don't have. That's how you take someone out.
Ooh, I get to use my secret exit. In the deleted scene, even his secret exit thing doesn't work correctly. I don't know if you guys saw that in the deleted scenes.
No, what happened?
It like stops halfway through. And then, because that's how, do they show it in the movie? I can't remember. Do they show it in the movie where, they show in the movie where, what's his face uses it? Futterman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they show that part, but when he first comes up out of the ground, it like comes up halfway and then it stops.
The Dracula guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does his whole broadcast from there. Once the secret exit is up, he uses that and goes there and does his whole news, whatever, breaking news thing.
I'd call these some pretty goddamn major bugs, wouldn't you? He's just
this
nonchalantly dealing with his fucking.
Yeah.
I love that Leonard Maltin is here.
Okay, I
Leonard
actually have a
Maltin-
little story about this. Okay, so I have read Leonard Maltin's video guides cover to cover for a couple years in a row back in the 90s.
They're great.
And I would do that and I would mark the movies off I'd see and all this stuff. I actually still have a part of one that has fallen apart. One of these days I'm going to dig it out to show people what I'm talking about. But in the actual review for Gremlins, what he says here is basically his review. And then you read Gremlins 2 right after it. He talks about a gratuitous cameo. And he gives Gremlins 2 like 3.5 stars. He gave the first movie like 2 stars. He fucking hated it.
He
Like,
hated
it's-
the movie. And it's so funny that he would be in the movie playing himself, talking about the movie.
I'm Leonard Maltin. This is the movie police.
And I'm a big fan of Leonard Maltin. I love him. He's one of the few established critics that I really love. I love what he has to say because he's a true cinephile.
He didn't like The Thing either.
No, nobody did, to be honest with you. They didn't like Blade Runner. They didn't like The Thing.
Well,
You know,
joke's on them.
Ebert and Siskel hated it. They thought it was horror porn. I love the gremlin in
It's
the
a
drawing.
10. It's a 10.
Yeah, this
The
is one of my
Velcro.
favorites here because he reminds me of the Gill Man from
Mohawk
Creature
does.
from the
Yeah.
Blast. Yeah, from Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's Stripe again. No, it's not Stripe again. It's a completely different character. Yeah.
And
The
he's the
vegetable
smart
gremlin.
one. This is
this is the brain gremlin, or is this the
oh
vegetable?
no,
I
this
gremlin?
think
is
he's the
vegetable.
vegetable.
The vegetable one. I love this one too.
He's drinking my vegetable medley. Brah, brah. That is the weirdest one. A fucking what? Like, a vegetable gremlin?
Like, why?
Salad,
Oh,
that's a salad
oh.
gremlin, guys.
He's
What
carrying
is
one of
that?
the pods, yes.
That's right. That's a pod.
And this is Joe's little comment on how the original film was a pod movie, basically, yeah. I think that's the brain gremlin right there that's drinking it. And of course Tony Randall does the voice.
Yeah, there he is.
I wanna talk to you a little bit about how things are working out.
Great fucking scene, because this was the first watch for me. Surprise, of course it was. So he drinks that thing and disappears under the table, and I had no idea. I expected another monster.
This is a nod to the classic Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we want is civilization. There's the bat. You can see a little bit of the bat there.
Because it's the opposite of Jekyll and Hyde, because Dr. Jekyll was the kind-hearted intellectual, and Hyde was his id, his inner self, the demonic side of him. And this inverts that he's a monster, drinks the formula, and becomes suddenly erudite.
Very cultivated, and even the musical scene was hilarious. And they cut away so much from it.
And he has glasses.
Yes, of course.
Well, I'd say it's rather brutal here. We're on a full-scale panic. We're advising all our clients to put everything they've got into canned food and shotguns. Buy, sell, sell.
Exactly. And by the way, Anima, do you know that word that I used, erudite?
No.
The brain gremlin.
Oh, here he is, Batman.
Yeah, the Batman scene.
That is my favorite gremlin. The bat gremlin.
The fact that he does the bat signal, though.
Yeah, I know. Going out the window looks exactly like the bat symbol. And it's Tim Burton's Batman symbol.
No, it's the standard.
No, I have a word with you.
Warner Brothers made sure it was the licensed one for them.
It's the one from the 80s there.
Yeah, it's the Tim Burton.
Well, the one they used on the poster, not the one he used on the actual shield, but yeah. Because the one he used on the shield is the one with the feet, which is actually my favorite one, where it has the three prongs.
The eyes. Yeah. Look at the eyes are slanted. That is absolutely a Rick Baker signature. He does it with his gorillas too, which makes them look exotic. They're really great.
The apple. The city so nice they named it twice. Check it out one time, won't you?
And according to what I read, Tony Randall really enjoyed making this movie.
He did a bunch of stuff for the promotion shit too. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think 11 Alpha translated your fancy word for me.
What we want is diplomacy, standards, tradition. That's what we're reaching for.
They just don't seem like they want that. They want chaos.
We want civilization. Take a look at this.
The flasher Gremlin.
Now, is that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
You do him amazingly. Wow.
Now, bear in mind, none of us has been in New York before. There's the Broadway shows. We'll have to find out how to get tickets. There's also the street crime. I'm sure we can watch that for free.
And by the way, the big musical moment in this film is absolutely a nod to Busby Berkeley and his films. I love that they did that.
There's so many gremlins in this movie here. That's what I love about it.
It's ridiculous.
The scene
and then
here
she
is
gets
great.
her one up, on the flasher gremlin, yeah. The fire alarm! The building is on fire. Destroyer of homes, giver of warmth. It's the most calm fire alarm ever.
Well, I guess when shit goes wrong all the time in a building, a fire alarm isn't going to spark massive.
Speaking of shit going wrong, so that video he has that to run, do you know what that really is? Like, there's people that ask Joe Dante afterwards, how do you fucking know about that? And they're like, he's like, what do you mean? He's like, the video. He's like, what do you mean the video? He's like, the video. Like, if shit ever hits the fan and the world's about to end, every station has a video like that ready to play.
Oh,
he's like, I don't know. I just assumed that Clamp would have something like that. Just because
he'd have something like that. Exactly. You fucking, that's crazy. By the way, I pause it here for a reason. What, hon?
The goodbye video for going off air forever. Of course,
basically saying goodbye.
To do that.
Bye to the world. That camera she's holding there, I had one of those. That's a Brownie camera, Kodak Brownie. And that, Tom, is where I saved up all my money for buying Star Wars and Star Trek memorabilia. I would open it up because it had an inner window. It's like a funnel that went to the lens. And I would shove my wad of money in there and close it up and seal it. Nobody would ever think of stealing my money from there. So, but that's a great camera, the Kodak.
Unless
Brownie.
they wanted to steal your camera, anyway. That is.
Then they would steal the camera. Hey, Quasimodo. And this is it right here. This is Futterman getting his redemption arc. And I love that he is doing something that so few actors have gotten to enjoy, is fighting an animated character.
You know what's hilarious about this scene? And I think they did it on purpose. Did anybody else notice that I did too? You can almost see it in this shot here. Nobody else is paying attention to the gremlin.
Nobody notices it. Yes, I absolutely.
Nobody in New York is paying attention to it.
They're just walking down the street.
They're just walking down the street minding their fucking
there.
business.
Everybody's looking at him at certain points, but not what's flapping above him.
No, nobody. And I think Dante did it on purpose because those are all extras. They're not like just fucking random people. I mean, those few people do look at it at first and they scream, but like otherwise, a lot of people are just well, that's the joke, I think, Soul Assassin. That's what I was getting to.
New York Town.
Yeah, it's just people just like, whatever. It's just another fucking day in New York.
Then he catches it and throws it into the concrete. And it becomes
a gargoyle.
A gargoyle. I love that.
I wish I had that gargoyle. How they have not made that yet.
That is how we got gargoyles.
It's a perfect paperweight, too.
Right? I mean, I have the Bat Gremlin toy. There is a toy, but I want like that. I want that statue like that right there.
Absolutely. A maquette.
That fucking Lego
Look at
Gremlin.
That. Lego Gremlin.
Oh, I think Joe talked about this because they only had 2 of them, I think, and they got pissed because they broke them.
They broke it?
Well, they knocked it over in the scene.
Oh my God.
So the Lego people were like super pissed. And I think it was an accident that they knocked it over, but it was like, yeah, because you see it that's the shot they use anyway. Because when the gremlin pops out of that thing, he knocks the whole fucking thing over and you hear it going crash onto the floor.
This is a great line right there. They fought back. That's what happened. I'll never hurt anything again. I love this. Christopher Lee's character has a redemption.
He's one of the best parts of this fucking movie.
Yes,
and he would have been cut out of any other movie, right? Like, they'd have been like, you don't need this character, right? Like, it's kind of like whatever. But no, like, it is so brilliant. And this is cool, too, because in the book, they do the same thing. But it's the brain gremlin who knocks out the author and starts taking over and starts telling you what happens in the movie because it's like basically like, we're sorry, but since this is a novel, we can't show you what happens. But believe you me, it's a very funny scene that includes Hulk Hogan, and it goes on and explains the whole thing.
It's so much parody within parody that this is one of my favorite meta films of all time.
When this happened in the theater, we thought the fucking movie broke.
Yeah. If you've ever been to a movie, it happens. I went to see
and they pause it long enough with the white just sitting there that people started getting up.
Yeah, they
and
start getting
groaning and shit,
uncomfortable.
because this is a
Yeah.
typical thing once in a while you'd happen. I remember happening in the middle of 101 Dalmatians to me as a kid.
Now,
and a couple
I'm going
other
to tell you,
times.
though, because of this movie, I at first didn't know how to react. Later, because it was around, was it 2002?
Oh, this is a
Still
total
movie, the
Andy
Alien-
Kaufman joke right
What
here.
was the Species? Species was in the theater, and this happened for real. But
Yeah.
I hesitated to react because of this movie. I'm like, is this part of the movie? I just didn't know what to happen.
No, this is an Andy
happening.
Kaufman joke right here. Like, this was brilliant for them to pull this off the way they did. It
Absolutely.
worked
Second time
so
they do
well.
it. I mean, starting
Bunny
with the Looney
Rabbit.
Tunes, you're like,
Bunny Rabbit.
did
Bunny-
Yeah.
I go into the wrong movie? What's happening? The whole beginning of the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
is
Well,
like,
you think it's going to
what?
start with a Looney Tunes cartoon, yeah. Which it was supposed to, for those who, I mean, I think you brought that up a little bit earlier, but some of it still exists. They just never finished it because they decided late in the game that they were just going to cut it out. But it was supposed to, the movie was supposed to start, and the joke of the whole thing, of course, is that they're supposed to be doing this cartoon, but they can't get the fucking thing right. So they just finally say, to hell with it, let's just roll the film. Well, they cut all the middle stuff out, and we just got the two, basically the beginning and the end of the cartoon. And it was supposed to start like the old, because for those who don't even know this, movies used to have these cartoons. That's where the Looney Tunes
Yeah, you
and
get a 10-minute
Tom
reel
and Jerry,
of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they would
I
have them
love that
before
about
the
movies.
feature. Yeah.
I never knew
I
that.
love that, going to the movies, getting to see a cartoon. I mean, now trailers have taken the place of it.
What's
And
funny
that's
is the
why
year after
people love
this,
trailers.
they had the first Looney Tunes cartoon in theaters in, what was it? At that time, I think 30 some years.
Yeah.
It would have been Gremlins had they been able to finish that cartoon, but instead, Neverending Story 2 ended up getting that because they had Box Office Bunny in front of it.
And they did
And
something similar with Roger Rabbit.
Well, yeah, Roger Rabbit had those already, but I'm talking about, it was that Box Office Bunny was the first theatrical Looney Tunes short shown before a movie since like 1960, whatever it was when they quit doing them, or 1950, whatever it was when they quit doing them. And they just, because after that, all those were animated for television. Like you brought up like the Roadrunner and stuff like that. Those were all made for TV from my memory too. If I remember right.
Now I'm trying to
Maybe
remember.
maybe a few of those were theatrical. I could be wrong, but most of them
Who
were.
was the director of Roger Rabbit?
Oh, that was Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, Zemeckis. That's who it was.
But the second unit director was Frank Marshall.
So, oh my God.
Roger Rabbit is awesome.
That's, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a big fan of this guy. That is
Mean
Paul
Gene?
Bartel. Paul Bartel.
Oh, that's Paul
is
Bartel.
great.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, Paul Bartel did one of my favorite 80s films. It was 79 when he made it. It was Eating Raoul. That introduced the world to the actor that would play Chakotay on Voyager. And that was his first movie. I love
Then you
Paul
got
Bartel.
what's his face plays the projectionist from oh shit.
Kenneth Tobey. Kenneth
Yeah.
Tobey was the guy that owned the garage that bought the smokeless ashtray in the first movie.
Yes.
And now he's the projectionist in this one.
Yes. And this is actually based on something that actually happened to Joe Dante with the mother here. So during a screening of the first Gremlins, a test screening, a mother got pissed and was going to leave during the kitchen scene, but her daughter slipped away from her and hid in the theater, and they couldn't find her. And she hid throughout the rest of the movie to finish watching the movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she
Great.
didn't want to stop watching it, but her mom was so pissed at how violent it was. And they were like looking for her and they couldn't find her. And eventually after the movie was over, that she came out and like, where the hell were you? You know, and all that shit. But yeah. So that's
But
what
by
that
the
little
way, I
thing
wanna
was
point
based
out-
upon there.
The original Karen were mothers from the 70s and 80s.
Oh God.
That's
yeah.
why cartoons were ruined. Saturday morning was ruined. By the way,
Silent
I love
Night,
Hulk
Deadly
Hogan.
Night, anybody?
Yeah,
Oh,
I love
this
this
too.
scene.
Just the
And by the way-
randomness of Hulk fucking Hogan. Right? Like,
Before we see this, Slasher Fred brought this up because we talked about this previously too, that when they released it on VHS, there was a different version of this scene.
The John Wayne scene, yeah.
Yep.
And we showed last week that other version that fan put together, which is really neat too. But yeah, no. So like, yeah, there's technically a third version of it that a fan did that's really neat. We showed in last week's show, part of it.
I love this, you know.
But I guess actually Bubba Smith and Sylvester Stallone also had cameos that were cut out of the film.
Yep.
I don't know what scenes they would have been in, but like, yeah, I really don't know.
And you don't get more meta than that.
Yeah, just Hulk Hogan, just out of nowhere. Grandpa. Broadcast.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Grandpa from the Munsters.
Well, they call him Grandpa Fred. And he is basically based upon Fred Lewis and oh god,
Al
who was
Lewis.
the other guy? Or Al Lewis, yeah,
Al Lewis.
and yeah, that's what I meant, sorry. And god, who was the other guy? There was another, is it Spenguli, I think, or somebody else in that era who used to do, like back in the 1950s and 60s, who used to do these the old late night things, because that's basically where Joe got the inspiration from.
Yeah, and Al Lewis, of course, was
also
Grandpa
doing
in the
that about the same time later on. He was showing movies as Grandpa, if you guys remember. He even had a video
not know
line.
that.
Yo, you didn't know that? Yeah,
No.
like the whole Elvira thing, like he was doing that. That's what this was based on, was him and some other guy, and I can't remember if it was Svengoolie or somebody else who would do the late night movie shows.
I know who Svengoolie is. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Al Lewis.
it might be Svengoolie, but yeah, Al Lewis did it too. They even got video releases of some of his.
Now, this gremlin got female hormones.
Yeah,
because they're all male, and so now you get a female.
Well, we brought this up last week when you had the cross-dressing one with Stripe, right?
Right, with Stripe.
So now we actually have Greta here, who is a legitimate female. The first transgender person in cinema history, probably.
Best sound effects, too.
What a hunk. There he is, getting more shit thrown on him. Did you see that?
Yep.
That's what I said. There's like a joke in almost every scene where he gets something on him, or he's always wiping something off, or she's pretty goddamn sexy for a gremlin.
She's Tammy Faye Baker gremlin.
That's what we all called her back in the day. Yeah, a lot of people now would be like, who?
Yeah, who the fuck is Tammy Faye?
I love that every monitor in the place has that gremlin thing on it too. And there was one other big deleted scene bit for some reason. I don't know why they didn't keep it in there, but you still see the remnants of it. A gremlin gets into the air conditioning, and that's why everything's so windy in that scene where Billy's in the office.
Right.
Because he's getting into the climate control, and he freezes half the building, and like the wind is blowing in another part of the, like it explains it in the book a little bit more, but I guess it was just too complicated for the movie. They just chopped it out. But yeah.
Now that was
they come in electric now too.
Character. Yeah. But that was the end of Chris Riley's character. That's where he died.
Yeah, that's where he dies.
And now we get the spider gremlin, right?
Yeah, that's where he turns into the spider gremlin. But like I said, in the original book, it's just a random gremlin who does it, not Mohawk. Mohawk's already dead in the book. I love the one with the holes in him, too. Gizmo's had enough.
Hey, Canadian Spider-Man. 2 days in a row, man. Good to see you, my friend.
I've been to Beirut. Yeah, bet they missed you there, too. I got Dracula reporting live.
Yeah, Dracula reporting live.
Creatures
what is
may be
this?
from some trans-dimensional warp.
What are you, Dr. Frankenfurter? Who actually has possession of the female gremlin?
Oh, Rick Baker, I think.
Yeah, Rick Baker's basically been turning his studio into a museum.
You gotta let me in there.
Talk to me like I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
I'm not crazy. Okay, so yeah, after here's the bit where I was talking about where it was deleted, where Clamp comes up through his secret exit, and then Murray uses it to get in the building. Because we never actually see him how he got into the building in the movie itself.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. I've forgotten. I haven't said anything in this one. The woman that plays Mrs. Futterman, his wife, is actually the actress who played the original Audrey.
Yeah, we brought that up last week, and this is what the second or this is what like the third or fourth time they played a couple in a movie before, I think, too. On top of it, or
yep. I love this, Bill. Any progress?
Only one of my channels is still on the air. Oh, we didn't even talk about all his fun channels, because that's the hilarious part about this movie. Okay, so this movie was making fun of the cable we had at the time. Do you realize that like half of the fake channels that they have in the Clamp building, if you're paying attention, we actually have now? I shit you not. Like, because the one is like the Food Network or whatever, and the other one is like the Archery Network and some other shit. Like, there is actual channels called that shit now.
That's crazy.
Like, it's so nuts. And now look at this too also. Like, how predictive was this of the some of the shit we have with the technology?
Oh yeah, video phones.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is what I was talking about, was the end of the world fucking video. So like after this was just a joke in the movie, but like a bunch of people who work in broadcasting kept asking Joe, like, how did he know about this? And he's like, what do you mean? And they would say, like, the video. He's like, what do you mean the video? They're like, the end of the world video.
Every network has one.
The sign-off video. I can't remember the actual name of it they called it. It has like a specific name. I like that.
And you know, he ends up being kind of a hero and an idiot hero, but he's a hero in the film.
Well, that's why I said they kind of twist it a bit in the movie, because like in the original book, he's just, you know, aloof and an asshole, and yeah.
When he comes in with SWAT is one of my favorite fucking moments. He said SWAT?
Everything okay? It moves, sir.
He also has a great pratfall, slipping in some of the goo.
Clamp Enterprises. Marla.
Oh God, this scene.
I need some illumination in my office now. Who's snoring?
Stephen.
Steven's sleeping again? Has he got narcolepsy?
Martin?
Not yet, but I'm getting there.
Somebody is.
I heard somebody snore.
It wasn't me. I'm tired as fuck, but it's not me.
Oh, somebody farted then.
Must have been you, Mr. Backdoor.
Hey, not me. My filter won't pick up my farts.
You got a guy in a Dracula suit broadcasting stuff with little green monsters. I love how Clamp kind of blames the guys in that fucking, like the Christopher Lee characters. Oh, so they do show this part. Okay, never mind. I thought it wasn't on the deleted scene.
Yeah, because it shows how he sneaks in.
Yeah, but in the deleted scene, I think they show where it doesn't work right. Because it gets stuck like halfway.
Yeah, you can't have anything work in this building.
See here, so you got a gremlin that got into like the fucking air conditioning thing.
So I want to point out something else that is well within everything that Joe Dante does. He fucking loves cookie cutters. And he'll get them all over the place in his films for shadows. And the shadows are always so fucking cool looking in his movies.
And they just replaced it with Lenny fucking with a board there instead of having the gremlin. Because it's actually, there's pictures and images of the gremlin actually in the system fucking around.
Now,
with. It's
what
in the
cookie
cards.
cutters are things you put in front. They're cutouts that are put in front of the lighting
to do a
system for the
shadow.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah, shadows. And I love Dante's use of them in his films. Look at that shit.
It's kind of a German expressionistic kind of thing.
It is. It's where it got its start in German expressionist films.
Hey, Bush.
Oh, time for his video. There you go. I'm not even going to read that one.
Also, Bush. That's funny. Well, I'm not German, so fuck the crowd, but still a good one.
I love the way he makes his bow and arrow. I am war.
As you probably know.
And of course, the way his hair is designed is to look like Al Lewis.
Yeah, that's what I was
Al
saying.
Lewis, yeah. Dressed as grandpa.
It might be Spenguli that he's based on.
Well,
It's just those two guys or whatever, or some other local guy that he knew.
It was grandpa, and he was also called grandpapa, depending on which character. Oh, here we go. This is great.
11 claps back.
Well, it's the truth. I'm not. I'm fucking Austrian, so there it goes.
Well,
Anything with
actually,
German roots, I don't have any. Well, I have.
well,
but
what's her face calls him grandpapa on the Munsters because it's actually her father,
Right.
and he's actually Dracula.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love the guy with what's his name? God, I can't remember his name, but he's also the guy who does the voice of Leonardo, I think.
That's
right.
yeah. It's you're talking about Getty Watanabe.
Yes. Yeah. Because he was also. Oh no, he's not the guy who does Leonardo's voice. I'm thinking of the other guy, but this is the guy who was in what was it, 16 Candles or whatever and stuff like that. Yeah, that's
My
the one. I keep
favorite
getting them mixed up.
thing
But
with
yeah.
Getty is he was in Gung Ho. I fucking love
Okay,
it.
Yeah. Nobody
in
chose Gun Ho. That was a fun one.
He was in 16 Candles. God,
Okay, I'm getting him flip flopped with the guy in Police Academy. In the Nerds. That's
yeah.
the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toshi.
Brian
Brian
Toshi.
Toshi. Brian
Yeah.
Toshi is the one I was getting mixed up with. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. Is it safe?
Is it safe?
They shouldn't remake all Stallone films with Gizmo.
Yeah, this guy was also in UHF. You're right, RJ. Work a camera. I am a camera. It's probably the racist thing in the whole, most racist thing in the whole movie. Is this
dude,
character.
having grown up in Vienna and spent my summers in Salzburg, it's more than a cliche. It's the truth.
I know.
You have these huge ass Asian groups, and they all see the world through their cameras. So I love that guy.
It'll do.
And by the way, Marla's last name is Bloodstone. The redhead.
Yeah. Oh,
There's Eric's favorite.
What?
Spider Gremlin.
Oh, fuck off. I can't believe Tom unmuted just to snort at me telling you to fuck off. Okay.
Well, it's part of the show. I'm laughing at you. I'm going to give you the laugh.
I hate fucking spiders.
Well, that's probably why it's there, because it gives you
I
the creepy
get
crawlies.
it. I get it. They went creatures. They had to do a spider too. But
Gizmo gets him. I
They
guess
put
they pushed him
Gizmo
too far.
So we got RJ Godzilla here too. our good buddy Bush, of course, and Awesome One is here too.
Well, of course, it was a lot easier to make Gizmo the hero in this one than it was the first time because it was actually designed that way, as opposed to what we talked about with the first film.
Well, yeah, it became incidental because it's
Yeah.
like he's got to be. We can't have him killed and become one of the gremlins.
That was Spielberg.
He's so non-present through the whole movie, and the underdog. If you see him, he's being tortured. So this is great for him to come back like that. By the way, Soul Assassin's avatar looks like Archer.
That is Archer.
Okay.
Here's the Lincoln.
Here it is. Yep.
We don't have time for this, honey.
Even if he's while he's carrying her away, she's still muttering.
Yeah, she's still doing it.
And they put
Start spreading the news.
What's it called? Pie pan hat on him. I love that.
I'm
Frank Sinatra
leaving
hat.
today. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York. Yes, sir. They seem to be performing show tunes.
We watch
and this
making of videos on YouTube, and that scene used to be so much bigger, and it's awesome.
They still keep in the part where it cuts to a upper, downward angle shot of the gremlin head, and the eye opens up of the female, and then she comes up through the floor. Absolutely, this is a Busby Berkeley moment.
Yeah,
right here. That's a hell of an airbrushing, by the way. Hey, two, what's up?
Conga line.
Oh yeah.
You got these guys just getting ready for war.
Yeah, they look like guys that have been seen too much.
No, they're just getting ready. They're going to take down the city.
Well, clearly she's got daddy issues. I mean, her dad died in the chimney, for God's sake.
That's how I found out there's no Santa Claus.
It's Big Al. What's up?
Dining after midnight in New York. That was always a good laugh.
And of course, all he's got to do is eat his cheeks. He's eating food. He is food.
The cheeks? I thought it was the nose.
Oh, I never noticed that before.
The Warner Brothers one? Yeah, I actually have that figure. I have that figure, actually.
What's up with that?
The Warner Brothers tattoo?
Yeah. Is that a tat?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I got they got a figure pack with the tattoo artist and the Warner Brothers gremlin. Yeah. I got
Fuck
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never noticed the tattoo on his
Really?
chest. No. I've watched this movie multiple times, and that's the first time I've ever
Then
seen
you
it.
got
Was
the
in that
Phantom
slide.
gremlin.
Yeah, I love this one.
Blink, blink. I love how they actually made it look like him, too. And this is just Joe Dante just fucking jerking off. Right? Like,
yeah.
None of this stuff needed to be in the movie. Right? It's just there because
I love that Marla is always fucking smoking.
yeah, Marla, smoke. Hello, New York.
Man, I could not believe how many fucking gremlins they had in this.
Oh, they got as many as they could.
Loogie.
Oh, I'm sure there is Cavatino. Which there's
There are cinephiles out there that it's all they do is look for every single
Billy,
Easter
I
egg.
sure hope you know what you're doing.
That's how Rockstar channel got its big start, just focusing on Easter eggs. Fuck, Paul did that with Heavy Spoilers. He's big on looking for Easter eggs and explaining them.
The fucking electric gremlin. I'd love to find out how they got to this place, because I think they said the original ending was, I think they had some like liquid foam shit or something like that the scientist guys had created, and they squirted that all over them, and they like had them all in a big block or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but then they came up with this idea here.
And this leads to one of my favorite moments. I'm melting.
Yeah. What a world. What a world.
What a world. What a world.
New York.
Oh yeah, it's still singing. Look at Gizmo's eyes. He's like, this is a nightmare. I'm melting. What a world.
And of course, a lot of these, I'm sure, are just reverse inflatables. For
Yeah.
those who don't know. Yeah.
I love
Either that or
the
they just suck the air out.
animation.
Yeah.
Oh, and poor brain gremlin. He's the only one I kind of hoped wouldn't die.
Well, the only one that lives that we know of is Greta and maybe Daffy. Daffy, I don't think is accounted for in this scene.
Oh,
'Cause remember,
Greta
he was
is
up at-
alive with Picardo.
Yeah, she's upstairs with Picardo now, but like I don't think they showed Daffy at all in the last scene. And last we saw him, he was up in the dentist office. So I wonder if he was still left alive. Because I don't ever remember seeing him in the final scene here. George and Lenny were there though, I think. Pretty sure they were, because they were with the military guys.
Yep.
It just looked like news. Get him off the caffeine and he'll be all right.
Not
Why
sure
don't you get some sun?
Wear more sweaters. Think avuncular.
Yeah, think avuncular. And get more sun.
Well, I'm sure, RJ, that they have a clothing store there, and it's probably suits for kids.
Well, Joe loved whenever they would start dressing the gremlins up. So that was the thing with this when they went all out. If that's what you're
Daffy
talking about.
was in a deleted scene with Lenny and George dying.
Oh, was he? I didn't see that. I'll have to go back and check the
Who
deleted
was
scenes.
dying, Daffy or Lenny and George?
I guess Daffy was in a deleted scene, but like I said, I don't in the actual theatrical cut, I don't remember seeing Daffy in the group of gremlins in the lobby, which always led me to wonder if he was still alive upstairs in the dentist office.
Well, yeah, there's that chance. Just want to know that everybody knows what Lenny and George is a reference to. The names.
Oh yeah. Of Mice and Men.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things come.
If we get a third film, and I hope we do, I would love to see Joe Dante make a third film, just off the rails, fucking crazy funny.
I mean, I almost wish they wouldn't now, especially after Beetlejuice 2. It's almost like just kind of leave them.
For me, Beetlejuice 2, the letdown with that is starting something and not finishing it properly within the film. And going in wrong directions with things. Like the big story for that was that boy. And they hardly focus any energy on the kid. And then that long drawn out musical scene with MacArthur Park. And I'm like, worst fucking song in the world to have used for this. They absolutely should have found something better. Has more energy to it.
Clamp corners where life goes to a crawl.
Dolls with suction cups staring out car windows.
Which, of course, is what they had. I had one.
A float in the Macy's Day Parade.
I showed Anima like some of the cool shit because I had a furry gizmo. But my problem with it is the hands. weren't like that. They were not, instead of making the hands plastic, they made them cloth with sewn edges to it. It just really annoyed me, but I still loved it. I had to get me a gizmo, and I got one of the 12 or 14-inch tall Gremlin when it came out.
Oh my God, this President Clown.
Oh my God, yeah.
Why not?
That was one of the possibilities.
I think that'd be great.
Because there was like this thing to do with a scene with the Senate and the Gremlins taking over the Senate or something like that.
Well, that's designed perfectly because that's what they are. A bunch of little fucking toadies.
I don't know. I mean, it just does. I'm of two minds because like years ago I had ideas for a third Gremlins that I think would have worked, but so many of the cast is gone now. It's been so long. I just don't know.
It's disjointed and it focused on the things it shouldn't have and left things on the floor. I mean,
well, I'm talking about like with the Gremlins 3. I just don't know.
And Beetlejuice 2, you get the wife back finally, and then that's it. She's gone.
See, because I probably would have went back to more serious for the third film, but
ditto.
I don't know. My initial idea would have been doing kind of a Godfather 2 kind of story. And my idea would have been it starts off with Billy and Kate live in Clamp Corners. Billy's working on a cartoon about Gizmo. And the meta joke in the beginning is Howie Mandel is doing the voice of Gizmo for the cartoon.
They've hired Howie Mandel.
Yeah, that was my little meta joke.
We'll have him in the movie. Idea. That'd be great.
And of course, Billy already had a daughter in the thing. That was my idea. So that was even before the commercial. I'm not saying they stole that idea. I'm just saying I had that. In the idea in the book or in the script I was writing, I did write it down at some point. I'd have to dig it out. But yeah, basically, with them, what the catalyst was the Kingston Falls Police Department was getting a new building, so they were cleaning out all their old evidence room locker shit, and they come across a petri dish with what was left of Stripe. And so these scientists start messing with it, and they bring Stripe back to life through DNA, like Jurassic Park shit. And at the same time, so they have questions about the Gremlin, and they're trying to figure out what the Gremlin's all about. And then, of course, they find out about the Clamp incident afterwards, and they track down Billy, and they get his side of the story. And then also he's like, well, you should talk to Mr. Futterman and, the old man's grandson who sold us the Mogwai to begin with. And so through their two stories, then you do World War II flashbacks, where you see where old, Key Luke as a kid finds, which basically they made the cartoon out of, which kind of pissed me off. And basically, because my story was, is that the Key Luke character found the Mogwai in a cave. He would find 4 Mogwai, 3 that he could break the rules with, and 1 would be Gizmo that was left over at the end. So throughout his story, you've seen each rule get broken, and then he is the reason why there were Gremlins in World War II.
That is the
and that would be the connective tissue to Futterman, who tells a story about dealing with Gremlins a couple times in World War II. And then that leads it back into the modern day, which while Billy and Kate are off dealing with all this stuff in Kingston Falls, their daughter is back at the house with Billy, or with Gizmo, who, of course, she fucks up and gets him wet and goes through all the stupid bullshit so Clamp Corner, you basically get a remake of the first movie going on at the same time as all this other shit going on. And I also kind of played with this idea that every time Gizmo has a new batch, they get more and more worse, because like you had Stripe the first time, then you had Stripe and the rest of them this time. So then this time he actually creates, the next level is like the King Gremlin. Instead of, the Mohawk, you have like the guy who has a crown of horns, basically. So he's like the big bad King Gremlin. And him and Stripe would face off in the third act too, for supremacy. So like it became like this kind of epic story to me. At this one point, it had both the humor and the seriousness mixed together, though. So it was kind of, because the King Gremlin almost kind of like looked like this, this huge thing. Like it was just kind of this idea I had in my head. I don't think they'd ever make it, obviously, and you can't do it now without Mr. Futterman. So, but yeah, that was always my idea. I don't know. I thought it would have been kind of cool.
Now, the one thing we don't get there in the slideshow is with her coming towards the camera, is the shot of Picardo, like,
his
and
face. Yeah.
He's like, fuck it.
This might be fun.
Now, if you watch all the credits, do you know we get another little cameo from Daffy throughout the credits and at the end too, right?
Yep.
Yes.
He bitches about the credits being so long. I love that. This is patently ridiculous.
And sadly, it wasn't Mel Blanc, even though I think Mel was still alive. They got
No,
somebody else
I think
to
he
do
had
it.
died just before this. Because the
Was that
last
it?
time, because the last time he got to do the voices
There you go.
was for Roger Rabbit, if I remember correctly. 60 years of you hogging the spotlight is enough. Hey. Paid out.
I love that fucking movie. I really do.
All
And
right,
I like
you got to
this
share what I've
graphic
got here. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh,
I don't know
yes,
who put
yes,
that
yes.
poster together.
I don't know, but
this
it's perfect.
It's like the other side of what we were seeing. Now you might have to cut this out later. Sometimes they claim it, sometimes they don't.
Oh, this.
We're gonna play this whole fucking thing. This is one of the funniest things ever.
Okay, guys. Gremlins 2. I'm telling you, this movie should write itself. First
Oh,
one's
I've
a
seen
classic.
this, yeah.
This should be pretty straightforward. Basically, all we're doing is maintaining the integrity of the original picture. We want to do all the stuff with the water and the... Can we help you?
I'm sorry. Let me introduce myself. Hi, y'all. My name is Star Magic Jackson Jr. I'm the Hollywood sequel doctor. So studio just brings me in to oversee things when they about to drop a deuce. So that's why I'm here, but don't mind me. I'm just gonna be over here. Y'all do your thing. It's your movie.
Okay. Let's brainstorm. Adam.
If it's gonna take place in an office building, I was thinking, what if Gizmo gets wet from a water cooler this time?
Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to step in here just one second. So what's wrong with y'all? Y'all looking like a bunch of sad sacks. This is G2, people. We're writing Gremlins 2. It should be a party with pizza and anchovies, pineapple. Just come on, lift up the spirits. Look, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of spice into the mixture here. What if we did this? Everybody here gets to design their own gremlin.
I don't see that the gremlin design is broken.
It's called brainstorming, not brain drizzling, sweet pea. Okay? Shut your mouth for a second. Look, here's the thing. None of this is final.
So you mean like, what if there was like a brainy gremlin?
A brainy gremlin.
You talking about a gremlin with glasses who could talk and sing New York, New York? That's brilliant. It's in the movie done.
Whoa, you said that nothing was final.
That was before I heard the words brainy and gremlin in the same sentence together. It's done. I love it. It's in the movie next.
What about a spider gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with 8 legs and a thorax just catching pretty ladies in a web in an office building? Oh my God, it's in the movie. I love it. Next.
What about a bat gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with leathery wings just flying around, flip-flopping, bust through a wall, make a perfect bat symbol in the wall, get outside, get in some wet concrete, jump up on a building and just dry in place like a gargoyle gremlin? We are cooking with gas now. I love it. It's in the movie next.
Could there be a female gremlin?
Lipstick boobies, bitch, you have me a little gremlin but JJ. I love it so much that it's not only in the movie, but it's definitely in the movie. There's no backsies on that one, no penny taxis. Yes, in the movie, done! That's why we need a woman in the writer's room. Next.
I don't know. A googly-eyed gremlin?
But you do know, because you talk about a gremlin whose sole purpose in this film is just that he looks stupid as fuck. Yes, it can be in the movie, and it is in the movie. Done. Next. What about you, Silver Fox?
Electricity gremlin?
You just said noun and gremlin, like you playing Mad Libs. You just like a child. You have the brain of a child. You do not have a high IQ, but you haphazardly came up with a gremlin that's just made out of bolts that is zigzagging all over the room and is done completely in animation. You a crazy person, and your idea's in the movie. Done. Next.
Can we put the Hulkster in it?
What? You talking about putting Hulk Hogan, professional wrestler turned actor turned cultural icon, in the movie where he break the fourth wall of the movie he's in by talking to the audience. You, sir, are a raging psychopath. Don't let this town take that away from you. That's it. I don't even care anymore. We got the Hulkster in this bitch, so it's done. I don't have any more time. So let me just recap right now. It's Brainy Gremlin, Spider Gremlin, Back Gremlin, Lady Gremlin, Googly Eye Gremlin, Electricity Gremlin, Hulk Hogan's gonna be in the picture. I'm gonna throw in a Gremlin myself. Vegetable Gremlin, just write it up. I'm having so much fun, thank you. It's all gonna be in the actual film. Now I gotta go put some Cowboys and Back to the Future 3. Sayonara, y'all. Oops.
No, okay, you guys know that none of that is going to be in the actual movie.
And you know what's funny enough to me is that he's so white. He really looks like Joe Dante.
Well, yeah, they made him look like Joe Dante there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't.
What's
put any
funny is Joe
makeup on.
Dante
That's
was
his
all
skin
for it.
tone.
That's the only thing that's not true about that scene, basically. Otherwise, Joe has seen that and he has commented on it. He's like, yeah, that's pretty much true. He's like, the only difference was I was all for it, right? I was the one encouraging it. Because
He
like
was
to me, it was
walking around the room. Yes,
yes, it's in the movie. Anything you guys fucking come up with, it's in the movie. Yeah,
he's the crazy, wild, gay black man.
because he just wanted to make a cartoon.
This
until he did Looney Tunes, until he did Looney Tunes back in action. This is his closest thing to a Looney Tunes movie.
Because if you go back to even the Twilight Zone movie, you can see the Looney Tunes in that.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. He's a big fan. But I love that. I'm glad we showed that.
It almost makes me wonder how Who Framed Roger Rabbit would have been like with Dante directing it.
Well, that's what I kept thinking, because my God, that is a movie that was meant for Joe Dante.
I wonder, though, if he would not have been able to nail the sincerity of it, though. I think that's where Zemeckis might be more important. Because Zemeckis was able to do that Frank Capra sincerity thing so perfectly that Eddie being the anchor of that film works, to where I don't know if Joe might have played Eddie off as more of a parody or satire kind of character. I think maybe. I could be wrong. But I don't know. I've thought about it a few times. I don't know. I mean, the movie is what it is. It's one of my favorite movies, so I don't want to change it. But yeah, same thing with Gremlins and Gremlins 2. So yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it really fits into the over of what Dante was doing.
It does. And I mean, it's not like he can't do characters with heart. I mean, even look at Inner Space, right? Is a great example of that, where yeah, it's a crazy concept, but you actually give a shit about Dennis Quaid getting out of his ass.
You care about him. You actually care about Martin Short's character too,
and Martin Short too at the same time. Yeah,
and that's a film I probably might want to do next, because I've been wanting to show that movie to Anima. She's never seen it.
Oh, if you dig shit like Fantastic Voyage or whatever, and some of those older.
And I'm a big
movies
fan
like
of that movie.
Yeah.
Raquel Welch's tits. Hell yeah. If Services Labyrinth co-writer Kerry Jones wrote a Gremlins 2 script that had a giant gremlin battling around a skyscraper.
Okay, yeah, there was that too. Yeah, there was a lot of scripts that when he came on that they were like, New York wasn't a new thing. That was always something that they wanted to do, but a lot of the other scripts Dante said had the gremlins outside of the building, which anytime you put them outside the building, it really made it a logistical nightmare, because shooting in New York, first of all, second of all, the puppetry of it and all that kind of shit. Like, yeah. So they came up with the idea of the building in New York being the central kind of area where they're at, which kind of really helped a lot of the problems. And at the end of the day, I think they only shot a couple days in New York, and it's basically those few scenes that we see in there. And I don't even know if all of them are. Some of them might even be shot on the back lot too, for that matter. You would probably know better than I would, Gerry. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like
the one
well,
I know
the
for
minute
sure
I
is just
see,
the Times Square scene is the main one that I know.
yeah. My big thing with the Warner Brothers backlot is like how many, so many films have been shot there, and I love how they've used it, and I will spot it because I know that street so well. And there is a virtual tour of it. You can actually do a 3D tour of it, and it's Google Earth, and you can go up and down the different streets and see where Blade Runner and all those films were shot. I love the old Warner backlot. I don't know if it exists right now with all that fire going on. And by the way, another great one pulled from the classic films is not Kevin McCarthy. What's his name? Kenneth McCarthy? No. He was in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and he's in Inner Space. He plays one of the villains. Is it Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. I love that guy as an actor. He's great in the movie Inner Space. Do that dinosaur movie, baby. Oh, the movie Baby with my friend Sean Young and Greatest American Hero, William Catt. I like that movie. I've been trying to figure out how to get Sean Young back.
It's pretty
on the
ambitious.
show.
It was a pretty ambitious movie for the time. I think it flopped at the box office, but
Oh, it did. Nobody was. I went to see it in the theater. That theater was empty, and nobody's in line to see it when we got out. I like Cloak and Dagger. It's a good movie. That's got the kid from E.T., Henry Thomas, and
Dabney Coleman.
Dabney Coleman, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the few Dante movies he didn't get Kevin McCarthy in. I heard you guys mention him.
Yeah, because he tended to, he had his little posse, and McCarthy was in his posse, Joe Dante's.
Well, he squeezed him in the first scene by having the scene from the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. And I love that he plays the same character, sort of, in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Like he's still running down the street warning people. Oh, was he in a deleted scene? Oh, man, I need to check that out. I love The Burbs. And
oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, he didn't make it into The Burbs either. Yeah.
And that's the film where you have Henry Gibson. He's the true villain in the film. He's the cannibalist doctor and his family.
Burbs is actually, I believe, Dante's biggest selling video. Even though Gremlins is his biggest movie. I mean, actually, that still might be the bigger selling video, but his second one is The Burbs by far.
Looney Tunes back in action. I need to see that movie again. I just don't remember that movie at all.
It's all right, but the problem with it is the baggage that it carries over from being a Space Jam sequel.
Yeah.
Because that movie has its own production.
That's the one with Brendan Fraser, right?
Yes. Okay, so what it started out is initially, like, because, Space Jam was like a fluke. It was like, why don't we try to do this, like, movie off of this ad campaign? And that's where Ivan Reitman got this bright idea to do it, and it just happened to work out. So ever since then, they were trying to come up with a sequel, and it was always something based around sports and mixing the Looney Tunes with it, right? Like, that was kind of the gimmick. Well, one of the scripts that came through that was one where it was not sports related, but it was a spy script. And I think Jackie Chan or somebody like that was originally supposed to be involved in it or something. I can't even remember now.
I would enjoy that.
It started, yeah, because it all started initially because it was originally called Spy Jam, is what it was called. So everything was like some kind of jam, because there was one that was like baseball, there was one that was like not basketball because we already have basketball, football or something like that, and something else or hockey, and they all were something jam, And so originally Back in Action started as Spy Jam, and then it got reworked into what it was. But like, so yeah, so it initially started as this bastardized sequel to Space Jam, and Dante just basically reconfigured it into a actual Looney Tunes movie. I wish they would have just let him start from scratch and make his own film. I think it would have been.
I bet you would have been crazy.
A much better film. Because the best bits in the movie are the stuff that you can tell he just came up with on the side. And that's all the stuff that has nothing to really do with the story. Like all those side little jokes and stuff. Like the commissary scene where you got, you know, all the canceled cartoons sitting at the same table. You know, and stuff like that. With Speedy Gonzalez and Pepe Le Pew and all that shit. Like he even knew then, you know, like, I mean, the movie has so many great moments that are huge love letters to the characters, and it's one of the few times that the movies actually gets most of the characters right, because Dante knows these characters, but it just didn't click with the audience, and it bombed so badly. In fact, it's the movie that probably hurt Dante's career the most, to where he hasn't really recovered since. He hasn't really made a lot of theatrical films.
I blame Jenna Elfman. She's poison.
Yeah, she didn't make a whole lot after that either.
Jenna Elfman is, there was this joke about her on Craig Ferguson, is like, she's like a person you don't invite to parties, because the minute she shows up, she begins to try to convert people to Scientology. Because she was a big Scientologist converter. She's Danny Elfman's sister, as I recall. And he's a big Scientologist. But Joe Dante directing Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a cool thought exercise, but nothing more. But how about him doing the sequel, if they ever did a Roger Rabbit 2?
Oh, I don't think Zemeckis would let anybody else touch it.
You don't? No,
I think he's too protective of it. And let's be real. There's many reasons why we haven't got a Roger Rabbit sequel, and probably for good reasons. And the biggest one is just, there's probably very little chance you're going to get Warner Brothers, Spielberg, and Disney to all work together again. It just probably won't happen. Even though some people thought maybe there's a little bit of hope after that really crappy Chippendale movie, just because some of the Warner Brothers characters popped up. But like, I think that's probably the closest we'll ever get to it happening. I don't see Robert Zemeckis and the rest of the guys and studios all coming together to make it happen in some way, shape, or form. And there's always something about these scripts that always gets in the way, whether it's just something about the movie itself, or like what Zemeckis said recently, like Disney would never allow them to make Jessica the way they used to and shit like that now, which is true. Let's be real. They would never. So, I mean, at the end of the day,
they would make her have small breasts and a flat ass.
Well, they already did back then in a lot of the advertising and kids material. So, they would know.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Which is fucked up, because she's she's kind of a trans icon, or a cross-dresser icon, however you want to look at it.
Which is funny, because the actress that did the voice would go on to play a trans character in Friends.
Kathleen Turner?
Yeah, Kathleen Turner plays Chandler Bing's dad.
Oh, on Friends, yeah.
So, but let's wrap this up. And I want to thank everybody for being here. That was fun. I don't know why talking about Gremlins 2 is so much fun. I love this movie
because
so
it's a fun movie, and you can tell they had fun making it. It's sad that it bombed. And when I say it bombed, I mean it bombed. I don't know what the fuck happened. I really wish I knew. It wasn't like the studio didn't get behind the movie. It wasn't like they didn't advertise it. It wasn't like there wasn't stuff out promoting it. I guess maybe it was just
they didn't eventually earn their money back, because they did.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, this movie cost like $40 or $50 million to make, and I think it only made like $15 million at the box office. And it came out, I think, the week before Dick Tracy. So as soon as Dick Tracy came out, the movie was done. And I don't know what the deal was. This is one of those few times you can't blame the studio. You can't blame Joe. You can't blame anybody but us as a public for not getting off our butts and going to see this movie. I mean, I saw it in the theaters, but I mean, the fact is that people just didn't go. And it wasn't like there was a shit ton of things out in 1990. There was a few things out, but even like RoboCop 2 flopped that summer. Right? So like 1990 was like the year of disappointing flops. It felt like, because like it started out with a bang with Ninja Turtles early on in the spring, and then summer came along and it was just like dud. Because even people were like claiming that Dick Tracy was a dud. So,
and I enjoyed that film too, and I
do
would like
too,
to
and
do
it
that
made
on
its
here.
money back, and then some. It just they were claiming it was a dud because the expectations were for it to do Batman money. That was the thing.
We should make that one of the films that we do, Tom, because that would be fun to sit down and talk with you about that film. Because I've talked about that because I said Anima would love it because she's a big Mandy Patinkin fan, and he plays 88 Keys in that. Only thing I hated about that movie is Madonna.
When did Desert Storm start? Was that 91 or 2? Or was it 90?
It started in 90.
That might have been why. Because that summer, maybe I was going to say, maybe it was just a cultural shift because we were just too worried about what was going on there, and people just weren't interested in going to movies that summer or something.
And I saw it on Post. I saw that
even
movie
Goodfellas came out and flopped that year too. Like, there's a lot of great films in 1990 that all flopped for some reason. It was just one of those years that just.
Last Action Hero would have done better if it had been released 10 years later.
Yeah, it was a little too ahead of its time, I think. I think you're right on that.
Too far ahead. And it's what hurt it. I think 10 years later, that movie would have just fucking skyrocketed and Arnold would have been celebrated.
Or if they'd have found a way to tie it in as a video game being the thing that he got sucked into instead of a movie, it would have been like because it kind of is the Tron of its era. It was just a little too far ahead of its time. Now, if it had done the Tron thing in that era, because somebody just said it was 1990. It was kind of the era of video games. Yeah, we got into that whole kind of spiel there. Like,
well,
the
1990
Mario
was a rough year for movies because of the Desert Shield and Desert Storm.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Because now I was going back in my brain trying to remember what the fuck was going on at that time. Because I mean, Ninja Turtles did really well in the early part of the year. Pretty Woman came out earlier in that summer and did really, really fucking well. But then everything just kind of fell off a cliff because, like, even RoboCop 2, there's no real reason why RoboCop 2 should have failed. I mean, you were really close to the heels of the original film. It should have done just fine. Gremlins 2,
and it's a great movie. It is a great movie. I love that movie too.
Well, yeah, and I'm not talking about the quality either way. I'm just saying, like, the position of it in summertime, like, there wasn't an overabundance of films to where all these movies should have been able to do well. That was kind of my point.
Right. So, we'll blame Saddam Hussein. Yeah, Saddam Hussein ruined Hollywood. Yeah, hey, Satan. How you doing, baby?
Come on, guy.
So, hey, I want to thank Penny for being here. Cavatino Caramanche, Emmanuel, JPRPH1, Slasher Fred, Read by Nature, Dragon Ruse, Helen Plays, Ham Dinger, Das Wölfen was here, Soul Assassin, Connie Cleary, the Comic Relief Crusader is here. Mike, I don't know why he's watching and not on the show. Southern Viking, Dark Woods Presents, Wade from Wade Nation Gaming, Curtis Selby, Sander Hammerschlag, Kozenyik, and Mecha J was here. Off the cover, Canadian Spider-Man, Awesome One, Boosh McFadden, RJ Godzilla 81, Two Gwyn? I know how to pronounce the last name, but I don't know how to pronounce that first name. It's Tue. Anyway, Big Al Presents. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thanks for joining us. And I want to thank Tom for being here. That's a fun show, Tom. God damn it. We always have fun. I want to thank Stephen for joining us today and not leaving a message. I won't be there. Anima, if you're still awake, thank you for being here, baby. And I want to kind of, sort of, yeah. Martin, thanks for being the right side of my brain. I also want to thank Mephisto for doing his raid on the channel. And we always get good numbers on our shows, Tom.
If he's still listening, I feel so horrible for missing the Gremlins 2 show, man. I
could tell you felt bad. You popped in and then you left, and I thought it was funny because I was right. I'm like, I told you fell asleep. Fucking guy works all the time. People don't know how fucking busy
part of it
you
was
are.
I've been trying to get myself on a certain schedule, which I finally did, but yeah, I still apologize for that.
You know how I do that? If I start having a problem with my sleep pattern, I won't sleep for a whole day and then go to bed right at a normal time the next night.
Yep.
And you
And
get
it
so
gets me right
cranky
back.
doing it.
Yeah, I know. I get kind of cranky. It's true, but it gets me back on schedule. So, but anyway, thanks, guys. Great show tonight or today. It's night somewhere. Fuck it. Using
It's not
the
here.
show's logic.
Half past
Using this
midnight.
movie's logic. Yes,
I
it's
like
midnight
turtles.
somewhere. I like turtles. So I'll play the quick little clip
Hey
here.
guys, don't forget to click that like, subscribe, and notification button. We appreciate you watching the show. Now, back to it.
YouTube punished us this month. I'm really pissed at them right now. And by the way, I found out because my music was released through CD Baby. They're my label. They're the ones who've been claiming my music all along on this channel. And I asked them, I sent a letter to them, please stop doing that. I'm Gerry Cassell and I own Pop
It's probably
Culture
an
Minefield.
automated thing.
It is. I
They
think it
should
is.
know that. They should
So
know
they've
this
just been massively just releasing the claims. I keep getting these notifications. I'm like, thank you for finally doing that because it's annoying. It cuts into our ability to make money off of the channel. We don't make a lot. It's like just enough to pay the bills. We're not going to be able to pay the bills this month. I'll have to figure that out because they did enough claiming against us that we didn't make enough to get paid this month. So YouTube, aren't they great? So yay, YouTube. But that's it, guys. We're out of here. I don't know what we'll do next time, Tom, but I'm thinking maybe we should do either. I wouldn't mind to do Inner Space, or what was the other one you brought up that I said I would like to do that one that Joe Dante did?
What's that? Sorry, I missed it.
What was the other one you and I were talking about that we should do next time?
Maybe Inner Space, I think you mentioned.
I think
Otherwise, there's
Inner Space
Matinee yet. There's a few other
Oh my
ones we
God,
can do.
I've been wanting to show that movie to Anima so badly. And I loved it when they released the miniature movie within the movie. Man.
Which you can only get on the old Blu-ray for some reason. They didn't carry it over to the 4K, which pissed me off because now I got to keep the old Blu-ray.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't know. It was Shout Factory. I don't know why the fuck they didn't. So probably because they didn't want to pay whoever, because there probably is actors and stuff that are in it that get paid extra. So
that's kind of goofy, don't you think?
Mm.
Because the movie was made for the movie, so they got paid.
Yeah,
to be
but
in
I
it.
mean, for the extras though, I think they have to pay them for using that. And if there was any footage
as a
that
bonus feature, okay.
yeah, and if there's any actors that are in footage that wasn't in the movie, I think they also have to pay them for that. So, because like, and the reason this is it, because the reason I think that's probably the reason is because, for those who wonder why we've never seen much more than the few seconds of footage that we have of Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future, is because he won't sign off for it. Now, supposedly they were really close to working out a deal with him. So I've been waiting to hear about what the deal is, because I think my hunch is they're going to do some sort of documentary.
They ended up shooting 4 weeks, right?
They shot most of the movie with Eric Stoltz.
4
like
weeks is a
90%
lot
of
of
the
movie.
like 90% of the reaction shots you see of everybody else where they're just reacting to Michael J. Fox. That's just the shit from Eric Stoltz. 9 times out of 10. Like, they didn't reshoot everybody else's sides. They just shot. They came in and kind of guerrilla warfare the shoot to just squeeze Michael J. Fox into the movie. In fact, there's always still been an argument of whether or not there is still one shot of Eric Stoltz in the movie, to where he's had a big point of contention over it. And yeah, that's supposedly the punch.
Yeah,
I thought it was the punch. Yeah, it was at that part, or it was the other
It's at
punch
the
in the
car,
diner.
punch scene, yeah.
It was one of the punch scenes. That's all I know. I couldn't remember which one, but yeah.
The one I was told is it's the punch at the car.
It could be. I just heard the punch. So, and then I kind of never really thought about, there is 2 times when Michael J. Fox punches somebody or punches Biff both times. Well, no, because it wouldn't have been him at the end, because he doesn't punch him at the end. He only punches him in the
That was
cafe.
his dad that does it. Yeah, his
Yeah,
dad.
so that's why I said, as far as I always know, it was that cafe scene. So supposedly the over-the-shoulder shot of Marty punching Biff is actually Eric Stoltz, but that has never been confirmed by Robert.
I'm going to go back and look at
'cause-
that. I'm going to
yeah.
go back and see that. See what I can see. All right, so we will.
Because the
I think that
movie
would be a
itself
good one.
didn't change. It was just his performance, because that was what they kept saying, was that Eric was in a completely different movie from everybody else. He kept trying to turn it into this like existential crisis film. And then they're like, dude, it's a fucking comedy. And then you got Crispin Glover, who's trying to turn it into a completely other kind of movie. So like, yeah, that's a whole nother story, but yeah.
Yeah, because it was what he said to Zemeckis that led to conflict and why he didn't come back.
Well, and at the end of the movie, for some reason, Crispin Glover thought his character would be this tough, like fucking, like wife beater wearing, like, I don't remember what else he said he wanted to have wear on, but like, he was like, it was just insane what he wanted to wear, and he just was fighting tooth and nail. So to get that final shot and that final bit with Crispin was like a nightmare, I guess. And yeah, you're right. Like that's what came between the two of them. He's like, Robert
Yeah,
was like,
it's
I can't work
what
with
he
him
didn't
anymore.
like. Also, from what I heard, is that he argued, and this is from his own lips, is that he thought that there was a problem with the way the story ends, that they get all this monetary wealth from changes that were made.
That was the other side
And he
of it,
says,
yeah.
and it sends the wrong signal.
Yeah, because he was trying to, that was what it was, is he was trying to say, well, he would make him this manly man now, you know, and all that stuff. Then this other stuff is nothing. It's just material stuff. George himself would be a completely different man, you know, like that was what his whole thing was. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I like this before we go. Gerry keep a CQ log when he stays up for 24 hours, which anybody from the military knows what CQ log is. So that's the person that's in charge of that area. And they run security. So there you go. All right, guys. Has anyone
Yeah, I
read
gotta
the
get back
novels?
to work.
And again, thanks for being here, Tom. Great show today. That was a lot of fun. Everybody have a great Saturday. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we're going to watch some movies tomorrow, Anima and I. So thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it, man. Bye now.